Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 4.5% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
This January, Fridays just got cooler, only at Harrah's Kansas City. Polar Patrol is making their rounds, and you can win $500 in free play. Just come out and play at any slot machine or table game for your chance to win $500 in free play. That's right, Fridays in January, the fun is on patrol and the prizes are ready to pop. So bundle up and head to Harrah's Kansas City where the good times keep flurrying. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Next Wednesday, January 28th. Our friends at Centric are hosting a KC Tech Career Summit at Centric. It's open networking with KC area tech professionals, facility tours, breakout conversations with instructors, career services, and a live panel featuring former Centric students and local employers, plus a Q&A.
Whether you're just starting out, considering a career change, or simply interested in what the tech field offers, this summit offers you a gateway to that. Please RSVP in advance by going to Centric.com and clicking the KC Tech Summit at the top of the page.
Hey everyone, I'm Josh Radner, and I am so excited to tell you about How We Made Your Mother, a rewatch podcast looking back at How I Met Your Mother. And I'm here with Craig Thomas, who co-created the show along with Carter Bays. Hi, Craig.
Hey, Josh. Somehow it has been 20 years since the show premiered. I'm going to check the math on that. 10 years since it went off the air, and we thought that made this a perfect time to look back, see what the hell we did, and why the show still seems to resonate with fans around the world today.
Follow and listen to How We Made Your Mother wherever you get your podcast.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at TheFan965 for behind-the-scenes videos like MVP Monday, Chiefs Take Tuesday, and Best Bets. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ, FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
After Hours, 96.5 The Fan. Logan Weber alongside Jackson Ogden tonight. Full boat, 3-hour show this evening, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and a lot to digest. NFL-related news kind of all over the place, which is surprising for a Wednesday, I have to say. I don't necessarily like leading off the show with the same thing we led off with on Monday. You usually try to refresh the news cycle and discuss something else, but when you get confirmation on something you were reporting on Monday, you kind of have to lead with it. CBS Sports is reporting that it is official. Eric Bieniemy has agreed to terms with the Kansas City Chiefs as the team's next offensive coordinator. So this is not what we were talking about on Monday where we were hearing reports of it. This is confirmation that we are getting now from CBS Sports, according to multiple sources. So it sounds like this is where we're going, right? We've seen social media reaction from Chris Jones. We heard Travis Kelce talking this week about how much, he respects Eric Bieniemy, how much he enjoyed working with him, and how he would look forward to seeing EB return to the Chiefs sideline. Patrick Mahomes even taking to social media. I think he posted on his Instagram story this afternoon a picture of Bieniemy with a couple of emojis of just the like flexing sort of emoji. So he seems thrilled about Eric Bieniemy returning to the Kansas City Chiefs. And it kind of pairs itself with the news that we got late last night, which is that Robert Saleh has been hired as the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans. So, the job that Matt Nagy just had is filled. The job that he was considered one of the front runners for is now filled. Where does that leave Matt Nagy? But sort of floating around in the breeze right now. I guess you could technically say that is no longer the prerogative or problem of the Kansas City Chiefs or those of us in Chiefs Kingdom. 913-586-7965 is our number. Of course, Bieniemy, 5 years with this team as the offensive coordinator. He won a Super Bowl with this club before ultimately leaving the team and going to the Washington Commanders for a season where he was fired after the conclusion of that year. He then went to UCLA, back to the collegiate ranks, where he was an OC for a year, got fired there in Los Angeles, and this past season was the running backs coach for the Chicago Bears. And if there's one small bit of solace that I can take in this situation, it is that while Eric Bieniemy does have a previous relationship with Andy Reid, and there's no question that that exists. Everybody and their mother knows that that exists. At least we can say definitively that Eric Bieniemy has been away from this team and absorbing other ideas, right? He spent a year in Washington where the offense was his to command under head coach Ron Rivera. He then went to UCLA where he ran the offense. And this past year, maybe the most important of that little 3 or 4 year stretch where he was away from the team was coaching the running backs under Ben Johnson, who is considered one of the best young offensive minds in the game of football today. Certainly came out and showed that in year one in Chicago, leading them to a divisional round berth and taking the Rams to overtime with a trip to the NFC Championship on the line. At least we know that he will come in with different ideas, different experiences outside of the building that maybe let's think about this for a moment. And I'm not thrilled about the entire way that this played out. I'm not thrilled about the fact that we still have no reports on if there were any other interviews conducted at all, if there were any phone calls for interviews conducted at all. We have no idea. This whole thing appears on the surface to have been the Chiefs wanted Eric Bieniemy. It seemed like they'd wanted him for a while, right? That seems like that was their plan all along, because we heard no news of any kind with this offensive coordinator search other than it appears that Matt Nagy is not going to be returning. Whether that was a he decision or a team decision, I don't know. And it felt like they just waited until the Bears season ended, which it ended this weekend. It ends on Sunday, and here we are on Wednesday, and it sounds as if it's finalized. Eric Bieniemy is the new offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. That I'm not thrilled about. But the previous relationship that he has with Andy might just make him the only offensive mind in the game of football that Andy would be willing to listen to. And who's to say that Andy's just ignoring everybody and won't listen to anybody? That may not be the case. But we've heard enough about this sort of good old boys club that this thing has become, where it's just Andy's way or the highway, and offensive schematics and the first 15 plays being all that stuff is Andy, and they all just kind of go along with whatever Big Red says. Can't say I necessarily blame them. It's been a pretty good idea so far throughout his tenure in Kansas City, but this past season, it wasn't. It didn't work. So where do we go from here? Well, number one, I think for Eric Bieniemy, you have got to find a way to establish the running game. And I know that feels ridiculous to say because you have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, and this team has always been about airing it out. That's what they do. But it's a lot easier to throw the football when the defense is having to play you honestly. The last 2 seasons, that hasn't been the case. Nobody's afraid of Isaiah Pacheco in the backfield. Nobody's afraid of Kareem Hunt at this age, at this point in his career, in that backfield. You have got to find a way to make defenses play you straight up. They're not just going to drop 7 or drop 8 on every single play to ensure you can't throw the football. They're not going to leave 5 or 6 guys in the box. They're going to constantly have to put 7 guys in the box to keep your running game under control, right? It does. I'm not asking for Eric Bieniemy and this Chiefs team to all of a sudden be producing 1,500-yard rushers and lead the league on the ground. That's not what I want. But I really would rather not see this team average barely 4 yards a carry like they did this past season. 4.2 yards per touch. This team was in the bottom third of the NFL in carries of 10 or more yards. You have got to make this running game more consistent and, frankly, more explosive, if for no other reason than to open things up in the passing game. Make the play action strike fear into opposing defenses, because that is not happening right now.
Well, and I think the explosiveness is a big part of it. Last year, the Chiefs they were dead last in the NFL. They only had 3 runs of 20-plus yards. One was Mahomes, one was Worthy, and then the only time a running back all year had a run of over 20 yards was Kareem Hunt against the Jaguars in Week 5. Outside of that, they didn't have a single run by a running back for over 20 yards last year. So it's hard to consistently grind out 3-4 yards and move down the field like that. When you watch the Atlanta Falcons, Logan, and Bijan's breaking off a 60-yarder, or the Lions and Jahmyr Gibbs is breaking off a big one, like at least once a game, the Chiefs maybe don't have to live up to that elite of a running back, but they can't go a whole season with one run of over 20 yards. That makes the offense so predictable. And of course, nobody's going to stack the box when the best runs you're possibly going to get are 4 or 5 yards. No one's afraid of a 4 or 5 yard run. What they're afraid of is Patrick Mahomes beating you over the top. And so they're playing too high safety, something that we've seen since the 2021 season.
This is something that it goes both ways, right? I understand the hiring. I'm not necessarily upset with the hiring itself. Maybe a little bit disappointed in the manner in which it was conducted. I got somebody in the text line. Logan, I don't understand why so many Chiefs fans are frustrated with the process by which EB returned. The Chiefs are not obligated to check in with us on their hirings. I understand they're not obligated to check in with us, but I feel like there is somewhat of I don't want to say an obligation, but there's a precedent for teams making those public, right? Making requests for interviews public, just like the Chiefs did with Eric Bieniemy, right? Making interviews public to people. Hey, this person's going to be coming in and interviewing for this job. The only person that was ever thrown out for the Kansas City Chiefs was Eric Bieniemy, which leads me to believe that that's what happened here.
And even when teams don't want the information out, it gets out anyway. Even if the Chiefs didn't come out and say, hey, we've requested to interview this guy, Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, Tom Pelissero, they're going to get the information out anyway. They're going to figure it out. So you could say, well, the Chiefs don't owe it to us. That information would have gotten out anyway. So the process was pretty simple that they were going to go get Bieniemy. And I think, Logan, a point you made earlier in your opening monologue was, is Eric Bieniemy going to have any say? Is he going to have any sort of, the offensive coordinator in Kansas City normally doesn't call the plays. It's Andy. I think back to the first Super Bowl that we were in with Mahomes, and Mahomes walks over to the sideline, and he asks Bieniemy, it's the 3rd and 15. He's like, what do we want to do here? He's not asking Andy. He's asking Bieniemy, and then he's going, should we jet chip wasp?
Yeah, we have time to run wasp?
And then Bieniemy's like, yeah, let's do it. So obviously, Bieniemy's had some input. That's just one example, but obviously Andy trusts Bieniemy enough to have some input within the offense. So maybe it was just a familiarity thing where, hey, this has worked before. Let's not overthink this and bring him back.
And who's to say that this didn't have anything to, or didn't have something to do with the fact that Andy is the primary play caller for this Kansas City Chiefs team, that he does create the majority of the game plan week to week, and he scripts the first 15 or 20 plays of the game. Things that in most NFL organizations, the offensive coordinator is placed with that responsibility. So when you look across the league at some of these other leading candidates for offensive coordinator jobs, maybe those guys didn't want to entertain the idea of Kansas City because they knew, hey, I'm not going to get a chance to call the plays here. So this obviously, and we've seen it be detrimental to a person's chances of taking that next step. Eric Bieniemy, who many considered at least in this area, a prime candidate for a head coaching job. But he didn't call the plays in Kansas City. So did that hurt his chances of advancement? That could certainly play another factor in this situation. Or a guy who's been an offensive coordinator before and has called plays, a la a Mike McDaniel, who we'll talk about in just a few minutes. Why would he go from being an offensive coordinator and a play caller to the head coach in Miami calling the plays, to then come to Kansas City where he's the offensive coordinator again, already a step down, and he doesn't get to call the plays?
Yeah.
That just feels like, that's 2 steps down if you want to make the argument.
And I also think, Logan, that they understand the trends and they see that there was a time where the Chiefs offensive coordinators were getting hired to be head coaches. Doug Peterson got it. Matt Nagy got it. But unfortunately, Doug Peterson, end of his tenure in Philly, flamed out. Matt Nagy started hot, flamed out. And now it's kind of become this thing where, we don't really want to hire the OC in Kansas City because we feel like Andy's doing all the work. So, of course, people are going to look at that as well and be like, if I want to become a head coach, this hasn't necessarily been the easiest path. If I'm not even going to get to call the plays, why would I put my career in a lateral/downward move to where it already was?
Yeah. 913-586-7965 is our number. We've got plenty of messages in the text line. I'll take a look at those when we come back. I also want to talk about Mike McDaniel because he is an offensive coordinator in the NFL again. And I can assure you, Chiefs fans, if you haven't heard already, you are going to hate his landing spot. That's next. Logan Weber alongside Jackson Ogden. It is After Hours here on your home for Kansas City Sports, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City Sports, 96.5 The Fan.
FanDuel is turning on playoff mode. All customers get a profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Each game day, during the championship round, you'll find a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you in the app. More boosts? Well, it means more ways to level up your playoff bets. Maybe you think one of the home teams go down this weekend and it's an underdog that gets it done. How about you take a shot on other upsets, or you take a look at your favorite prop bet involving one of these quarterbacks to throw for 3 or more touchdowns. Then you apply your profit boost and go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs keep on rolling. So visit FanDuel.com/local. That's FanDuel.com/local and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. FanDuel Sportsbook's the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Announcing Lee Summit Subaru's 0% event. Up to 0% financing on select 2025 Subaru models for 72 months. And we have the largest selection of Subaru certified vehicles in Kansas City, starting as low as 1.9% for 72 months.
0% event and a lifetime warranty. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Based on January 2025 through June 2025 Kansas City inventory listings.
Escape to your new coastal seafood paradise. Introducing Aqua Pennies, where the freshest seafood, a full-service raw bar, prime steaks and chops, exquisite handcrafted cocktails, and a one-of-a-kind atmosphere come together in perfect harmony. Aqua Pennies is now open in Park Place, Leawood. Don't miss out. Experience something truly different. Tantalize your taste buds and elevate your evening out. To learn more, go to aquapennies.com.
Coast into Aqua Pennies, now open for lunch.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Tonight, expect a mostly clear night with a low of 22.
Weather brought to you by Staples. 2026 is here, and at Staples, deals mean business. Like up to $100 off custom print orders. Head into the new year looking good for less. Staples. That was easy. Ends 1/31.
Hey, it's Dusty Likens, and on behalf of everyone here, I want to thank you for listening to another season of Chiefs football right here on 96.5 The Fan. Although the season didn't go as planned, we saw record listenership these last 6 months, and that's all thanks to our listeners and Chiefs Kingdom. Our coverage will not change these next couple of months as we get you ready for a busy offseason starting with the Combine, free agency, and the NFL Draft. Stay up to date with us on YouTube, Instagram, the Odyssey app, or right there in your car. This is your home for Chiefs football, 96.5 The Fan.
Major news outlets across the country are reporting that it is official. Eric Bieniemy is returning to the Kansas City Chiefs as the offensive coordinator of the team. Players are taking to social media expressing their pleasure in his return, including Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes, some of the bigger names, obviously, for this Chiefs team. And we're getting a lot of messages about it in our text line, 913-586-7965. Somebody at 913 asked, so did the Bears get a draft pick or not? Because EB was already once an offensive coordinator. No. The Bears will not get a compensatory pick for this move. They have to be, in certain cases, it is like coordinators becoming head coaches or assistant general managers becoming general managers. It's not position coach to a coordinator. It's typically one of the bigger, more sweeping moves that you'll see. Guy going from an OC or a DC to a head coach or head coach to head coach, which very rarely happens in this league. Guys don't just take a head coaching job with a different NFL team in the middle of a season. So no, as far as I understand, the Bears will not get some kind of compensatory pick for hiring Eric Bieniemy because he was the running backs coach of the team and is being hired as an offensive coordinator. So I got another 913 says, if I'm Brett Veach, I'm calling Ryan Poles in Chicago about DeAndre Swift. Poles and Veach have that Kansas City connection, so the trade talk should be easy. Swift only has 1 year left on his deal, so he's a much better value than overpaying for Breece Hall in free agency. Plus, Eric Bieniemy literally just spent all last season coaching Swift in Chicago. He knows exactly how to use him to fix the offense. I don't necessarily hate that thought process. There are a couple of factors that stop me from fully jumping on board with you. The first one being you're going to have to trade for him.
Right.
The Chiefs don't have a lot of capital to just trade for guys right now.
They only have 6 picks this year.
Correct. And they're going to need all of those picks in order to fill out what is the remaining slots on their roster. Mm-hmm. Because the Chiefs have a ton of guys with decisions to be made this offseason. I mean, the number of guys that are free agents for this Chiefs team right now, 27 of them, in fact. A couple of restricted free agents, Keontae Ingram and Mike Caliendo. A couple of exclusive rights free agents, which means the Chiefs just need to offer them a deal and they come back. Matt Ariza, Eric Scott, who honest to God, I apologize, I don't know who that is, and Nico Remigio. So, okay, fine, take away the restricted free agents and exclusive rights free agents. You still have 22 guys that you're going to have to either come to terms with or let walk. That includes Jalen Watson, Isaiah Pacheco, Josh Williams, Tyquan Thornton, Gardner Minshew, if you want him to return as your backup quarterback, which I find skeptical after an ACL tear, or not a full ACL tear, but a pretty serious knee injury that kept him out of the season finale. Leo Chenal, Derek Nottie, Juju Smith-Schuster, Brian Cook, who I think he's as good as gone at this point, right? Hollywood Brown, what do you do there? Charles Omenihu, Jack Cochran, who's a big-time special teams guy for this Chiefs team, in that they use him a lot. He's on every special teams unit.
Well, and I think, Logan, even not naming the guys you just named, next year's McDuffie. And there's also guys that are going to need to get paid. Who knows about Rashee Rice? You know, that situation's still pretty fluid, but if he is playing for you, you're going to have to probably pay him as well. And then a guy you didn't even mention that could be coming back, Travis Kelce. You might have to pay him as well. He might not retire. So a lot of decisions in, like you said, every draft pick the Chiefs have this year is super important, especially because not just in the first round, but think about it, you're going to be picking high in every round, something that the Chiefs have not done since 2012, right? That's probably the last time after 2013 draft, after they went 2-14 and got Eric Fisher, Travis Kelce, and those guys in that draft. So, I don't hate the idea of a DeAndre Swift, but I'm not going to give up draft capital for it.
No, and he's been a much healthier player the last 3 years, DeAndre Swift has, after missing time in his first 3 years in Detroit. You know, he played in 16 games in 2023 with Philadelphia, played in 17 games 2 seasons ago in Chicago, and then this past year he played in 16 games. But it's not as if he's been this incredibly effective back either. I mean, for his career, he's averaging 4.5 yards a carry. Now, yeah, I mean, the argument can be made that he ran behind a pretty laxed offensive line there in Detroit his first couple of years, but at his best year, it was his last year in Detroit where he averaged 5.5 yards per carry. He only had 99 rushes that year. Any year that he's had in his career where he's gone over 110 carries, he's averaging, 4.2, 4.3-ish yards per carry. He's not an incredibly effective back in his career. He's not a guy that you can look at and say, this is a definitive 3-down back. I don't see that as a viable trade option. I really don't. If you had a 7th-round pick to give away, okay, maybe, but you don't, because you only have 6 picks in this draft class.
I mean, he kind of just lost his job to a 7th-round rookie and Kyle Monangai. So, yeah, I'm not a huge fan there. Ben Johnson got the most out of him this year that you're probably going to get out of him for the rest of his career. I do understand the idea of, hey, let's try and get a guy at running back that's a veteran that's, not going to cost as much as a Breece Hall or a Kenneth Walker, but that just wouldn't be the move I'd make.
Not in my opinion either. So I got another person in 913 says, I understand why they hired him, this being Eric Bieniemy. No good offensive coordinator wants to come to a team where they can't call plays and can't have their own scheme, but Eric is fine with that. And maybe that's something that's been a little bit overlooked. We talk a lot about calling plays. Some of these guys, some of these offensive minds might be looking for opportunities under a defensive head coach, so that way the offense is completely theirs. They're not having to adapt to an offense. They bring the offense with them. They bring the scheme. Are we more of a West Coast? Are we more of a single back sort of under center sort of look? Whatever that person's thought process is, that doesn't matter in Kansas City, because you're going to run the West Coast style of offense that Andy Reid has propagated for the last 30 years. It's what he does. It's what he's good at, and he's seen tremendous success with it. So if you're a Mike McDaniel, who's to say that John Harbaugh is going to allow him to run his style of offense? I don't know that for certain. But we do know that Jim Harbaugh is going to say, hey, man, the offense is yours. I'm the head coach, right? I am the guy corralling this circus and trying to collectively bring us together to win football games. That's just not what happens in Kansas City under Andy Reid.
And to your point, we've kind of seen it in Seattle this year, where Mike Macdonald's their head coach. He's a defensive guru. Clint Kubiak, their offensive coordinator, who is probably going to get a head coaching job, I would imagine. He's going to at least be in talks for one whenever this season's finally over for Seattle, whether that be after this weekend or after the Super Bowl. So, I mean, to your point, yeah, if you're an offensive mind and you want to go under a defensive head coach like a Jim Harbaugh, or whoever, it does give you a little bit more, because think about it. Could you name Miami's offensive coordinator last year on the Dolphins?
No.
It's because Mike McDaniel's in charge, right? It's like that's the guy calling the plays. So, yeah, for career growth, 100% makes sense as to why you'd want to go under a Jim Harbaugh or, a Mike Macdonald rather than an Andy Reid, where you're just going to be looked at, even if you do succeed. And Eric Bieniemy got a lot of this of, well, it's Andy Reid. And now that Eric Bieniemy's been gone and the offense hasn't been so good, people are like, we need Bieniemy back. But when he was here, people were saying, well, it's just Andy Reid's offense. What does Bieniemy even do? And then Nagy comes here and we struggle, and they're like, we need Bieniemy back bad. So, you're not even going to get all the credit if you're here and your offense succeeds.
Boy, and the Matt Nagy story could get very, very interesting in the next couple of years, based on some of the reports that have been coming out over the last few hours. According to the Kansas City Star and NBC and several other places, the Philadelphia Eagles interviewed Matt Nagy.
Please hire him.
For
Please
their
hire
OC
him.
job.
Please hire him, please.
I don't want them to.
Really?
No, because I don't think Matt Nagy was the problem.
Wow, okay.
I've never thought Matt Nagy was the problem.
Okay.
Matt Nagy was a true to form, by the book definition of a scapegoat. In my opinion.
I'm interested because you're definitely in the minority in Kansas City on this.
I know
take.
I am.
I'm interested in why.
I had no problem with them moving on from Matt Nagy,
Sure.
but for the folks that were, prior to the everybody realizing that he was in the final year of his deal and that they didn't need to fire him, the folks that were calling for the firing of Matt Nagy, I'm like, okay, if that's what you'd like to do, I don't think it's going to matter that much. Unless something dramatic, changes systematically with the Kansas City Chiefs. I didn't think Matt Nagy was he was a symptom of a much larger offensive disease that swept across the Chiefs over the last 2 or 3 seasons. Maybe Eric Bieniemy is the medicine that fixes it. I don't know. But I have a deep fear that Matt Nagy is somehow going to arrive in Philadelphia and revitalize the Eagles offense, and all of us in Kansas City are just going to have to sit here and watch it happen. That is my fear.
There's some fair points in there, and nobody can dispute that Eric Bieniemy had more to work with in Kansas City than Matt Nagy did. The wide receiver core in 2023 was Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. It was a bunch of guys who aren't even getting jobs on other teams these days. So I'm not going to argue that Matt Nagy had the same talent at his disposal as a Tyreek Hill or a Sammy Watkins or even a DeMarcus Robinson at that point. But, I think something had to change, right? Somebody, and it might just be a scapegoat situation, but something did have to change because from 2023 to 2025, the offense has only gotten worse. Some of that's personnel, but it also feels like some of that is schematic in the offense has just looked stale. And something had to change.
I'm completely in agreement with you. Something had to change. I also think that there's no excuses anymore. There's nothing and nobody to hide behind now. If you bring Eric Bieniemy back, if next year, 2 years from now, this offense is still sputtering along.
Oh, it's on Andy.
Like a car running on E.
It's going to be on Andy.
There's nothing to hide behind
There's
anymore.
nobody else to point at.
You have nobody to point fingers at, nobody to put the blame on to try to save yourself or the organization. And that doesn't just fall under the guise of Andy Reid. That's not just Andy that I'm saying that about. That falls under the purview of General Manager Brett Veach. And frankly, as much as we all love him, myself included, I believe he's the best player on planet Earth, Patrick Mahomes falls under that category as well.
To an extent. You look around the league. If they gave him a James Cook at running back and he was struggling, yeah, but there's been no running game. He hasn't had any consistent receiver play. I would say he's far and away not the problem, but people will make that argument if the offense does struggle for another couple of years. I can see it.
And let me be the first to say, I'm not hoping for that. Frankly, I'm hoping that Matt Nagy was the problem. And if Philly hires him and the Eagles struggle, okay, fine. Matt Nagy was the problem. That's the ultimate culmination that I hope for. I just don't have the utmost belief in it. We'll have to wait and see. 913-586-7965 is our number. A few more messages in the text line that I'll take a look at here as we go along. I want to continue to talk about the NFL because hirings are being made. And I mentioned Mike McDaniel as an offensive coordinator. Many people in this area were advocating for the Chiefs to kick the tires on him. Not the case, obviously, as has the decision for Eric Bieniemy coming back to Kansas City thwarted that, but also the fact that he's been hired elsewhere. We'll discuss that next here on After Hours. Logan Weber, Jackson Ogden, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Ready for action, hockey fans? Dusty Likens here. BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is giving players another reason to lace up and hit the ice this season. BetMGM is adding extra excitement to the goals, the checks, the faceoffs, and those breakaways with special promotions, new features, and more. Log in throughout the season to find odds boost tokens, no sweat tokens, and parlay boost tokens in your account to amplify your winnings. Enjoy enhanced product features like dark mode as well. We have lots in store between now and when the new champions are crowned. So log into BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, all throughout the hockey season to see what's new. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and older only. Missouri only. Existing customer offer subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly.
Jewelry Graham. Hi, I'm Brian, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. We have just the right gift for your sweetheart this Valentine's Day. Any style, any budget. Like heart-shaped necklaces, birthstones, or hand-matched diamond studs. Getting engaged? Create a dream ring and choose from natural and lab-grown diamonds in all shapes and sizes. Come see us in store or at shaneco.com because a friend wants you to win Valentine's Day. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're ready to improve your health. But if you're feeling low energy, not sleeping well, or not seeing results in the gym, keeping that resolution can be tough. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if those symptoms sound familiar, we can likely help. They often point to low testosterone, and treating low T is what we do. But this year, we're also helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring growth hormone peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more, designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. With our low T treatments combined with our body composition programs, most men notice real improvements. More energy, better focus, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and often a renewed sex drive as well. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Paramount Plus is the new home of UFC, and we're coming out swinging with UFC 324.
Oh, what a shot!
And 325 on back-to-back weekends. The new era is here.
It's time!
Every fight.
Bam! Let's go!
One subscription.
Oh my goodness!
Pay-per-view just got knocked out.
Let's go!
Back-to-back blockbuster UFC events this month only on Paramount Plus.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel. Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Well, Mike McDaniel found a job fast, and he didn't find it as a head coach, which is somewhat interesting because he had 3 interviews this week, and only one of them was for an offensive coordinator job. He had 2 head coaching job interviews this week. I believe he interviewed with the Raiders and potentially with the Ravens this week. And it sounds, as according to ESPN, like he's going to be the new offensive coordinator for, prepare yourselves, Chiefs fans, the Chargers. So he is going to be joining Jim Harbaugh's staff in Los Angeles, much to the chagrin of AFC West foes here in the NFL. According to sources, it sounds as if he was being pursued by multiple teams as their their leading candidate for offensive coordinator. The Eagles were one of them, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were another. Ultimately, what they're reporting is that the possibility of going back to California Of course, he spent years and years in the California area, mostly with the San Francisco 49ers, along with the opportunity to coach Justin Herbert, which I know that that's a hot button issue for folks here in Kansas City because people are either very, very, I don't know. I don't even know what the best way to describe it is. People are very hard on Justin Herbert. Like the Justin Herbert haters or apologists in this area are kind of the only two courses of action. I frankly lean more towards the latter side of things. I think Justin Herbert is a very good quarterback in this league. I think he has the potential to be a top 10 guy. He exudes a little Lamar Jackson to me. Very, very good in the regular season, especially when it comes to taking care of the football. But in the playoffs, he falls apart.
He's a disaster.
He feels the need to sort of put the team on his shoulders and go out and win the game by himself.
I mean, I've said this, Logan. He's played 12 playoff quarters. He's been awful in 10 of them.
Yeah.
They had a great first half against Jacksonville in his first playoff game. That game that they blew, was it a 27-0 lead, 20-0, something crazy?
That game, yeah, that wild card game against Jacksonville.
Last year against the Texans, he throws 4 interceptions. This year, he might not have thrown any interceptions, but it honestly looked worse than the 4 interception game. He was gun shy. He wasn't throwing. That was not the same Justin Herbert we saw in Brazil week 1. Not even close.
Didn't help that the offensive line was being held together by duct tape and he was running for his life. Especially, I mean, not just in that wild card game,
all
but
season.
Especially the back half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hence the reason why he hurt the hand and had surgery and all the things. You know, he was obviously pretty beat up by the end of the year, but I don't know. I have to say I hate the idea of Mike McDaniel in Los Angeles coaching Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
I mean, with the weapons that they've got, with Quentin Johnston kind of taking the leap that he did this year, Ladd McConkey is still as consistent a slot receiver as you're going to find in football.
I was going to bring him up because you think of the success that Jalen Waddle had in the slot with Mike McDaniel. Not that McConkey's he doesn't have that sort of speed.
No, that's straight line speed anyway.
You could see a very similar sort of role for Ladd McConkey next year in this offense, which that was one of the bigger things for the Chargers this year, Logan, is first couple weeks McConkey was rookie McConkey, and then out of nowhere he disappeared. He's just like, where is Ladd McConkey now? Justin Herbert has no one to throw the football to.
Yeah.
And so I think Mike McDaniel coming in will help that a lot. I think it's interesting he chose them over the Eagles and the Bucs, considering the Eagles and Bucs both have very talented offenses. Like
absolutely.
I mean, you might debate between Herbert, Hurts, and Baker, but just from a straight offensive perspective, Philly's got Saquon, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, great offensive line. Tampa's got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. We'll see, if they bring those guys back. Igbuka, Jalen McMillan,
Bucky Irving.
But yeah, tons of talent. And he ended up, of course, I know going back to California probably played a role, but he ended up choosing the Chargers. And, it's hard to blame him. When you have the opportunity to be the offensive coordinator for Justin Herbert, even if he has his playoff shortcomings, still a pretty good gig.
Yeah, and to coach under Jim Harbaugh, right, for a team that made the playoffs and has had success, and despite the fact that Nick Sirianni won a Super Bowl in Philadelphia, that is not a foregone guarantee that he's got solid job security. We know how the people of Philly can be Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl, and 4 years later, he was out of a job. And prior to winning the Super Bowl, people in Philadelphia were calling for Nick Sirianni's head. So, and that goes back to Tampa Bay, which, if I'm looking at these three teams, Tampa Bay seemed like the most seamless transition in my view. He's already down there in Florida, and it's an offense that schematically is the most similar to what he was doing in Miami, right? Much more of a pass-first style of offense with a guy in Baker Mayfield who has shown an ability to do it. I mean, first half of the season, Baker Mayfield was arguably the MVP frontrunner, and then injuries piled up and things fell apart. I think what would give me a great deal of pause if I'm Mike McDaniel in that situation, as enticing as Tampa Bay might be, is look at how Todd Bowles treated the offense and the offensive coordinator this past season. He's not just, didn't just fire the offensive coordinator, didn't just speak ill of them in meeting rooms and in practices. He was going to the media after games, in post-game press conferences, and biting into expletive-laced rants about his offense. I don't want to go be his offensive coordinator after that. As weird a dude as Jim Harbaugh is, that's where I'd end up. Philly fans are nuts. Todd Bowles did not treat his offense or the coaching staff very well last year. I wouldn't want to sign up to be the immediate heir apparent to that. All right, let's go to Los Angeles, a team that has made the playoffs in each of the last 2 years. Jim Harbaugh is as steady a hand as there is in football. As much as I don't like the guy, I get it. I absolutely get where he's coming from.
I'll raise this, Logan. Do you think Mike McDaniel wants to become a head coach again one day? I would say yes.
100% he does.
If you do, look at the history just recently. Philly has had Shane Steichen and Kellen Moore as OC get head coaching jobs. Tampa's had Dave Canales and Liam Cohen get jobs. Chargers haven't turned anybody into a head coach, right? Greg Roman just got fired. So on one, I hear your argument out, and I get it. But we've seen this where Tampa and Philly has turned out some head coaches recently, and the Chargers, it has been basically every offensive coordinator has been the scapegoat for why they can't win in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I mean, speaking in defense, it's the only. I mean, Roman. That's the only guy that Harbaugh has fired, right? It's a different coaching staff, I guess you could say.
It was telling that he fired him.
Yeah, and the offensive line coach for that matter.
Because they've been together. You know, they've had ties for a very long time.
They dated back to Harbaugh's days at Stanford. He was his OC at Stanford.
Yeah,
Think about how long ago that was.
That felt like the playoff game went so poorly that somebody had to go. That somebody had to take the blame for that because it was such a disastrous performance by them in the postseason, and he was the easiest one to point fingers at.
It's hard to argue with that. 913-586-7965. Philly fans suck. Who wants to coach there? I don't disagree with you.
True.
I don't disagree at all. Somebody was asking earlier about the Eric Bieniemy situation, and an interesting perspective that this person brought. It said, looking at, they find it interesting how between Kansas City and Chicago, there's a sharp divide in how Eric Bieniemy is perceived. In Chicago, they see him as an overqualified asset who proved he is more than a running backs coach by leading a top 3 rushing attack. They believe that he has earned the right to be an offensive coordinator. In contrast, that feeling in Kansas City remains skeptical about his suitability as an offensive coordinator. I don't think that that's necessarily it. And the way I responded was that I don't think the skepticism is of Eric Bieniemy necessarily. I think there's some skepticism over Bieniemy because he left Kansas City to be a coordinator elsewhere twice, and it didn't work. He was fired after a year in Washington. He was fired after a year at UCLA, and I think that gives some people pause. I think more than anything, the skepticism that I have is that once again, we talked all year about trying to bring in something new ideas, new experiences, things of that nature. And this is the exact opposite of that move. I mean, this is by definition the most stick with the same thing move the Chiefs could have possibly made. Number 2 would be Mike Kafka, and then everything else is different.
I think of it this way, Logan. Say we had a very good show, right? We had just a great show for like a week straight, right?
Yeah.
But then that's all we did going forward. Just because it was great doesn't mean the same thing's going to keep working over and over again. People are eventually going to catch on to it and be like, why am I, the way defenses are looking at Bieniemy and Reed, and they're like, okay, this is the same offense it has been for the past 6 years. We've kind of got enough film on this to understand this.
Yeah.
It's not that we don't think Bieniemy's competent or capable, because he obviously was when he was here, but it goes to your point, and we did want fresh ideas. We wanted a new voice in the building. It feels like we're just going back to, well, this worked, so it's definitely going to work again, right? And I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of the idea of that.
Something that is a great idea can only be a great idea for so long, especially in the world of sports, because people catch on to it.
It's a copycat league.
I mean, that's what we're talking about, and that's the thing we kept hearing all season long was we were talking about this offense has become predictable. This offense has to do something else. This offense can't just continue to do the same thing that it's been doing for the past 6 or 7 years or 8 years. And everybody's like, well, why not? It's worked all these years.
Because eventually defenses catch on.
That's why, is because it worked for all those years. That's all teams are preparing. They are gearing up for the fact that that's what the Chiefs have done. That's why they've been so successful. Let's prepare ourselves to stop it. And they did exactly that. And, because of that, we're all talking about there's got to be new ideas. People have to somebody has to bring something else to the table. Mm-hmm. And nope. We're going to do what we've been doing for the last 3 or 4 seasons now, where, Bieniemy leaves. Matt Nagy's the offensive coordinator again. We need a defensive lineman. Let's trade for Derek Nottie, who we let walk in free agency 4 months ago. We need more defensive line depth. Let's go pick up Mike Pennell, who just got cut by the Bengals. We need a wide receiver. Let's trade for McCole Hardman again. Let's bring Juju Smith-Schuster back again. We're banged up at running back. Let's go grab 28-year-old Kareem Hunt off the couch. That's maybe the one that's worked out the best of all
Clyde
of them.
And Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Yeah, can't forget that.
Again, it just feels like it's going back to the same thing. And that's great to a certain extent until it stops working. And it's not working anymore, especially when it comes to the players more so than anything.
It's like if an artist had a great album, but that was the only sound they ever had, and they never tried something new, and they just kept recycling it, recycling. Eventually, it's like, okay, it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
It was cool at first. Now, all of a sudden, we're on to something else.
Reminds me of a story. You bringing up a great band with a good album. I was maybe 10 years old. It was 2008, so I was 10 years old. We went for 4th of July. My family, we went on vacation to St. Louis, and there was a 4th of July fireworks display at the St. Louis Arch.
Yeah,
and we went, and the band that was performing, that was like headlining the show before the fireworks went off, was Train. Now, Train, they have come out with very good music since this point, right? Songs like Marry Me and Hey Soul Sister and Drive By and things like that. But at this point, their big hit was Drops of Jupiter.
Yes.
Which had come out in 2000, right?
Long time ago.
Yeah. So this is 8 years later. It's the only hit song they've ever had to this point.
You're right.
They did a 90-minute set. They performed Drops of Jupiter 8 times.
Oh, my goodness.
And the first time you're like, oh, this is a great song. Me at 10 years old, I was like, oh, I didn't know that Train made Drops of Jupiter.
Right.
I knew the song. The second time you're like, yeah, I get it. It's their big hit, right? You play it a couple of times during your set. Understandable. By the time it got to the 4th play, I'm like, is this the only song they've got? It was they would play Drops of Jupiter and then a song and then back to Drops of Jupiter. And you're like, okay, folks, we know it's a good song, but you're ruining it for all the thousands of people that are sitting here in St. Louis at the Arch watching you perform. They finished the 90-minute set, and then the fireworks are shot off. Mind you, it had rained all day, 95% humidity. So they shoot off the fireworks. You saw about the first 8 seconds because the fog just let the smoke sit there like a smog, and it covered up the fireworks. You couldn't even see them. You just heard fireworks for the next 15 minutes. It was great. Really enjoyed our night. 913-586-7965 is our number. All that to say, I completely agree with your analogy. A great band or a great singer coming out with one great album is fantastic. But you got to have multiple albums. You got to have multiple hits. You can't just play the same song over and over and over again and expect people to continue to enjoy it. It's just not the way the world works. Logan Weber, Jackson Ogden, you're listening to After Hours, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Danon Hughes here, and it's playoff time, and there's no better place to bet the chase for the championship than Circa Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be. Whether you're betting championship or conference futures, sides, totals, or prop bets for every round, there's no better place to make your bets throughout January all the way to the big game. Circa Sports, with high app limits, player-friendly pricing, and exceptional customer service. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Buys KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon. Hello? You won't believe where I am. Are you running? Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture. And then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Oh, the things we remember. You brought up that a great band can come out with one great album, but you need more. I don't know why that brought up the train story in my head. Now people are just giggling about it in the text line. It's a hilarious, great story. Somebody says, I still enjoy Vanilla Ice. I mean, how can you not, right? Ice Ice Baby's a cult classic. Unfortunately for him, he completely ripped off Freddie Mercury and Queen in order to do it. That's it. Like, Ice Ice Baby, like, he loses money every time that song plays.
Yeah, it's like
pretty much.
when you have someone else do your homework for you and you just put your name on it.
Yeah,
That's basically what that was.
It's one of my favorite things of all time is that he did an interview when he was being sued by Queen and the estate of Freddie Mercury over the copyright infringement, and he was like, no, it's, Under Pressure was like dun 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 dun. He said ours was dun 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 dun, and it's like, buddy, come on,
saying the same.
It sounds the same. We all know it sounds the same. Every time you hear that either one of those songs start, you have to wait. Like, one of my big things, my wife and I loved, like, when we're riding in the car, we're going on a road trip or something, we like to just, like, throw on a playlist on Spotify and play, like, a music guessing game, right? You got to guess the name of the song. You got to guess the artist of the song. And then we try to guess the year if we can. And with a song like Ice Ice Baby or it's one of those, either one of them, where you're like, you immediately recognize the beat, but you have to wait a second before you can say it, right?
It's like that.
Another one is like Sweet Home Alabama by Leonard Skinner, and Werewolves of London. They have the same, almost identical intros They have slight differences in the beginning of the song, but you have to give it a second. You can't just blurt it out, or otherwise you're going to be wrong. You have to wait until 8 to 10 seconds into the song before you know for sure which one it is.
I think the most recent example of this is the Somebody That I Used to Know by Goatee versus Anxiety, by Doechii.
Yeah.
Same. It's the same exact beat.
100%. And now she did get permission to do that.
It's an interpolation of it. Yeah. It's basically, but still, you hear the beginning, and you're like, I have no idea which one this is. Yeah. This is the same exact thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so, absolutely. Somebody else says people loved Nickelback until they didn't. I still enjoy Nickelback.
There's some.
I don't mind
Photograph
Nickelback at all. Yeah.
Rockstar. There's some hits there. How You Remind Me. Come on, we're not going to pretend Nickelback doesn't have anything.
That's a good
I know
song.
they're the butt of a lot of jokes, but we're not going to pretend they don't have anything.
They got some bangers.
They do.
Absolutely
They do.
What's another one? Far Away is a really good one that I remember. Someday. Another one, and this is a strange song. I don't know if anybody's going to understand what I'm saying here. The song Animals by Nickelback. It's a wild song. It's about this dude and his girlfriend running away from the girlfriend's dad. But for some reason, that song always sticks in my head when I think about Nickelback, with my dad playing it in the car when I was 8 years old. Not really the sort of song an 8-year-old should be listening to, but
right.
I was there regardless, sitting in the back seat of that Ford Explorer, just jamming. 913-586-7965. Carrington would call this entire conversation the Two Americas. How can y'all talk about music for 5 or 6 minutes and not mention any Motown sound? Oh, all right. That's fair. I thought about Train because of the analogy that Jackson made. I'm not a huge fan of Train. Okay.
No.
That's where my brain went. And somebody else brought up Vanilla Ice. Somebody else brought up Nickelback. I apologize.
If it makes you feel any better, we're mostly making fun of these sounds.
Fair.
So
it's fair.
If you like Motown, the reason we didn't bring it up is because we're not making fun of it.
It's a valid point, though. This segment is incredibly white.
Oh, my goodness.
It is,
Couldn't be more.
Just milk white, this conversation.
Couldn't be more.
913-586-7965. Maybe we'll discuss some Otis Redding here later on in the show. He's one of my absolute favorites. Otis Redding is so good.
We could go deep into the bag.
On a day by day, I will listen every single day to Sitting by the Dock of the Bay. It's one of my absolute top 5 favorite songs of all time.
When Kanye and Jay-Z sampled Otis, that was the all-time classic. We can get into some if we have to.
Unfortunately, Kanye had to go insane, but that's neither here nor there. Logan Weber, Jackson Ogden, you guys are listening to After Hours here on 96.5 The Fan. When we come back, we've got some baseball news to get to. A former Royal heading to Cooperstown. We'll discuss that next here on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
And Doug.
There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game.
Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug!
Oh, yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down.
Hey!
Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey, hockey fans! Now with BetMGM, you can win a share of $10,000 in bonus bets when your anytime goal scorer nets 3. Enter BetMGM's Hat Trick Jackpot all season long for your chance to win some major bonus bets. It's easy. Just log in and opt into the promotion. Then make an anytime score bet on any hockey game of at least $10. If your player of choice scores 3 goals instead of just 1, you'll win your share of the $10K in bonus bets. There's nothing quite like watching a game with a hat trick, especially when it means you can win a share of $10,000 in bonus bets. Ready to shoot your shot? Download the app today. BetMGM. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards or bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Don't let winter catch you off guard. Keep your family cozy with a $69 heating system tune-up from Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. We have pros available 7 days a week to keep your system running at peak efficiency, helping prevent costly breakdowns, lower energy bills, and keep your home warm all winter long. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
The new era of UFC on Paramount Plus comes out swinging. Highlight machine Justin Gaethje collides with Paddy the Baddy Pimblett in a must-see high-octane main event. Plus, Sean Sugar O'Malley faces off against Song Yadong in a stand-up war filled with high-level striking. Pay-per-view just got knocked out. Stream UFC 324 live on January 24th, only on Paramount Plus. Visit ParamountPlus.com/UFC to get started.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Chiefs off-season show, Tuesday, February 10th at 9 a.m. on 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
The Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown will be welcoming in 2 new members in 2026. One of them being longtime Atlanta Braves standout, Andrew Jones. Jones, during his lengthy 17-year career, most of that spent in Atlanta, 12 years in fact, 2 years with the Yankees, a year respectively, or parts of a year with the White Sox, the Rangers, and the Los Angeles Dodgers, culminated in 5 All-Star appearances, 10 Gold Gloves, which is incredibly impressive, and 1 Silver Slugger award. His best year, arguably, was the 2005 season, in which he hit .263 with 51 home runs, 128 RBIs, both of which led the league. He finished second in the MVP voting that year, and he won his Gold Gloves in 10 consecutive seasons, from 1998 to 2007, all of which he did, of course, with the Braves. He's also considered by many, one of the more resilient players of that generation. From 1997, his first full year of Major League Baseball, to 2007, so an 11-year stretch. In that time frame, he played in at least 153 games every single year, including 160 games in 2005, played in 161 games a couple times, he even had a year in, 99, I think, where he played in all 162. So Andrew Jones in the Hall of Fame, 434 career home runs, nearly 1,300 RBIs. Here's the second name, and one that I'm sure Royals fans are very familiar with, Carlos Beltran, who got his career started in Kansas City. He was drafted by the Royals in the second round in 1995, made his debut with the team in 98. He had a Rookie of the Year award finish in 1999 with the team. He finished in Kansas City after he was traded to the Astros in 2004. He played it in 159 games that year. His last 2 years with the Royals were top 12 MVP finishes. In his career, across 20 seasons, he was a Rookie of the Year. He won a World Series, 9-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove winner, 2 Silver Slugger awards, and a winner of the Roberto Clemente Award. He hit 435 homers, had a career WAR of 70 with a 280 batting average, but this is not a general consensus, especially when it comes to Carlos Beltran. There is a lot of controversy surrounding his being placed into the Hall of Fame because of the latter part of his playing career and then immediately following his managerial career because of the Astros cheating scandal. Personally, I still think he belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, my argument would be, do you think before he went to the Astros at 40, was he a Hall of Famer? Like, do you think that last year in Houston actually elevated him into Hall of Fame status? I think he was already a Hall of Famer well before he got to Houston. So, yeah, to people that are going to say he shouldn't be in there because he cheated, he was already a Hall of Famer before he was a part of that Astros cheating scandal. By the way, he wasn't even good that year in the cheating scandal. It wasn't like he hit 330 with 40 bombs. Like, he was old and completely washed up. I'm a guy I wish Barry Bonds was in the Hall. I wish Pete Rose was in the Hall. McGuire. Like, I'm a guy that wants all of the best players ever, even if they did have the PED scandals or the gambling scandals. I want them in because you can't tell me Barry Bonds isn't one of the greatest players ever with or without steroids. He just is. He was a Hall of Fame player before he ever took a steroid. So for me, happy for Beltran to get in. Think he more than deserved it. And yeah, the Astros cheating scandal at the end isn't a great look, but to me, it doesn't diminish what he did.
Yeah, it was one season in 2017 in which he hit 231 with 14 home runs and 51 RBIs. His on-base percentage was 283. So I personally do not care. And if I'll take it one step further. I got somebody here in the text line that says Beltran was part of the Trastros and cheating. Yeah, he sure was. You know who else was? Jose Altuve. And I think he belongs in the Baseball Hall of Fame when he decides to hang it up. Agree or disagree with me, that's your prerogative. I think Jose Altuve is one of the 5 or 10 best players of this past generation of baseball. And he deserves to get into the Hall of Fame.
I'd agree. 100%.
9-time All-Star, Gold Glove Award, 3 batting titles, 7 Silver Sluggers. He's got an ALCS MVP, the 2 World Series, which you can sort of negate if you'd like to because of the cheating thing. Guy's also got an MVP to his credit, and he's done it all at the whopping height of 5'6" and weighing 170 pounds. He just hit 26 home runs this last year for the Astros. He's got multiple years of hitting 30 bombs.
I'd agree with you. He's had so many good years outside of the 2017 cheating scandal that I think you could justify putting him in the Hall. Will they? They're pretty stingy. The Hall of Fame voters are very stingy on. I mean, someone said put A-Rod in. He only got 40% of the vote.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't even close, and he's one of the greatest shortstops ever, even though, of course, he was also part of the PED scandal, which, by the way, had record-high baseball viewership when the PED scandal was happening because people were hitting home runs, and it was actually exciting.
Saved baseball, you could argue.
So the Sammy Sosas and stuff. So, I mean, you could hate those guys, but they kind of brought baseball back after that lockout that ended the season in the 90s where they didn't even finish the year. And then all these big-time hitters came through in the late 90s, early 2000s, and baseball became exciting again, and people got back into it. Someone you didn't mention, Logan, who obviously did not get in, but he got a Hall of Fame vote, Alex Gordon. He got 1 Hall of Fame vote. Royals legend Alex Gordon got 1 Hall of Fame vote.
Listen, I love Gordo, okay? I do. As a lifelong Kansas Cityan, as a Royals fan, you know, he made his debut in 2007. I was 9 years old. Like, my sports fandom was in full-fledged, you know, by that point. You know, gotta respect guy that was a first-round pick, 2nd overall. I can ignore the fact that he went to Nebraska. I can do my best. He's a career 250. I mean, like a career 257 hitter, and hit less than 200 home runs in his career. Was he arguably the best glove that left field has seen in baseball in the last 25 years? Yeah, he probably is.
Probably is the best defensive left fielder of the century.
8 Gold Gloves, 2 Platinums, couple of All-Star, I shouldn't say a couple, a few, 3 All-Star games to his credit.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, he had 2 seasons in his career where he hit over 20 home runs. He never had a season where he had over 90 RBIs. He had 1 season where he hit above 300.
Yeah. This was not me arguing he should get in.
Alex Gordon is not a Hall of Famer.
He's
there was
not.
Somebody else.
Nick Markakis got a vote,
Oh,
I think.
my God.
But, like, Gordon's a Royals Hall of Famer, no doubt.
Yes.
Like, he's going to go there, and
he should.
4 will get retired, and, that's all great and everything. He's obviously not an MLB Hall of Famer, but I did think it was funny that he was able to get a vote. That was kind of cool. The real one they're going to debate is Salvi. That one's going to be interesting whenever it's all said and done, because not a lot of catchers have hit 300 home runs. Most of them that have are in the Hall, and he's already got a World Series MVP. He's got the Clemente Award. He's been around forever. He's a loved figure. He's going to be an interesting one when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, the numbers tell you he's a Hall of Famer.
I agree.
I mean, 303 career home runs. He's not done, right? He just signed the 2-year extension that you would imagine he plays another 2 years for this Royals team. But in 14 seasons, 303 home runs, 1,016 RBIs in his career. His career batting average of 264.
Pretty good.
Which is pretty, especially for a catcher, that's fairly solid.
A catcher that hits for power, too.
Correct. And a catcher who has 5 Gold Gloves to his credit at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
300 home runs, 1,000 RBIs, and 5 or more Gold Gloves.
And what's like a 10-time All-Star?
9.
9? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's...
As far as I know, off the top of my head, there are only 3 catchers that come to my brain that have done all 3 of those things. 5 or more Gold Gloves, 300 or more home runs, and 1,000 or more RBIs. Salvador Perez, Pudge Rodriguez, and Johnny Bench.
Yeah.
Those are the only 3 that come to my brain. I'll get into the numbers and try to see if I can find some more.
Trying to think if Piazza did it or not, but yeah, definitely rarefied air. I mean, most the WAR will say, he's got a 35.5 career WAR, I think, which is right around where Gordon was in his career, but I think it goes past that. I think you look at 300 plus home runs, just what he's meant to the game of baseball. He's one of the most loved figures in the game by any fan base, maybe not the Mets, but any other fan base. Yeah, I think when it's Salvi's time, it's going to be interesting. He's not going to be first ballot because basically nobody is, but I think he should get in when it's all said and done.
Okay, I don't know this for sure. I'm trying my best to get into these numbers here. Yeah, so Pudge Rodriguez, obviously with the 13 Gold Gloves, he is in that category. Johnny Bench, I think he's got to have. Yeah, he's got 10. So as far as I know, I mean, Salvi is one of 8 guys ever to have 300 home runs and 1,000 RBIs as a primary catcher in general.
It's insane.
Piazza, Carlton Fisk, Johnny Bench, Yogi Berra, Gary Carter, Pudge Rodriguez, Lance Parrish, and Salvi.
Mm-hmm.
He's also got 5 Gold Gloves.
I think from an objective standpoint, he should be in. Like, could you argue he's the best catcher of this era? Is it Posey? Is it Yadier Molina? Could you put Salvi up there at number 1?
I mean, I would say a guy like Buster Posey or even a Joe Mauer.
Yeah.
Those guys had higher peaks, I would say,
but
than
even
Salvi
Mauer
did.
Switched to first base.
True,
like he wasn't a
but
catcher forever.
Mauer won an MVP as a catcher.
A catcher, yeah,
right?
he did.
I mean, so I would say the peak of him, Yadier Molina was. That's a very hard comparison, I think, in my view, for Yadi to Salvi, because they were such different players.
Yeah.
What made Salvi great at the plate, or what makes Salvi great at the plate, is not what made Yadi. Yadi hit for contact. Yadi got on base. Not what Salvi does. Salvi hits bombs. Salvi drives in runs.
Salvi swings in anything.
Yeah, he's a run producer.
For sure.
That's what Salvador Perez has been throughout his career. in Kansas City. Man, I don't
make the argument he's the second best Royal ever so far. Brett's obviously number one. Could you put Salvi too? I mean, obviously Saberhagen comes up. Amos Otis comes up. Willie Wilson. There's a lot of guys up there. Frank White even.
Yeah, Greinke. If he had stayed with the team throughout his career, I think that there's obviously a guy on the team right now, at least one.
Yeah,
that is gonna,
number 7 at shortstop.
Going to certainly make that race contentious pretty quickly. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a younger fan, right? Like, we're both younger fans of the team. We weren't alive for the '85 World Series team, so there's probably guys that were alive for that are gonna argue no. But I would say Salvi would, in my book, from what I know, be the second best Royal of all time as it sits.
And I am able to confirm he is one of 3 catchers ever, 300 or more home runs, 1,000 or more RBIs, 5 or more Gold Gloves.
Yeah, put him in. Someone said it in the text line. Let's not overcomplicate it.
It shouldn't be complicated.
He's in.
It shouldn't be complicated.
100%. He should be in.
You want to know what is going to complicate it?
What's that?
I got 3 letters for you.
Give it to me.
WAR.
Yep.
His WAR is going to hurt him because he played on bad teams.
And
for the most part. In the
Fangraphs era of, well, he doesn't frame well. Framing wasn't even a thing back in the 80s and 90s. Like, that wasn't even something we talked about. So, yeah, he doesn't frame well. When we go back to when we get to robot umpires in the future, framing won't even be a thing. So to use that against him, I've never thought that made any sense.
I personally am not a huge fan of WAR as a statistic in general. Like, if you want to use it as a fleeting, sort of boilerplate surface level answer for a player, that's fine. But you got to get more into the details, the nitty gritty of a decision, especially one the magnitude of the Baseball Hall of Fame, before you decide his WAR is not good enough to get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. I mean, he's got a higher WAR than Roy Campanella, and he's in the Hall of Fame, right? Salvi, early on in his career, his WAR wasn't very good because he wasn't playing on very good teams. Then you had that 3 or 4 years, that I shouldn't say 3 or 4 year, that 3-year stretch from 2014 to 2016. 2 years you go to the World Series. Lest we forget, World Series MVP.
Mm-hmm.
You can tack that on nicely to his little stat line and list of accolades. But then after that, 2017, 2018, the COVID-shortened 2020. Listen, he had a WAR of 2.1 in that COVID-shortened year in 2020.
Which was, 60 games total?
37.
He only played in
37 games that year.
So he played in 37 games and had a 2. That's crazy.
Yeah, where he had 11 home runs and 32 RBIs and hit .333 across 37 games.
It's impressive. And then the next year, didn't he hit 48 bombs? Was that 21?
Yes.
That was 21 that he hit that? Yeah.
Lest we forget, 2019 didn't play.
Yeah, missed
Tommy
the whole
John.
year. That's right. Missed the whole year.
And he completely reinvented himself, lest we forget, right?
Pretty
he was
much,
a guy that was a 20 to 25, 27 was his max home runs that he was hitting, but he was known as a great catcher, fielder at that point. Good glove, great arm. The elbow injury happens. He has to reinvent himself as more of a power bat at the plate. And he's come back out, and he had the 48 home run season in 2021. He hit 30 bombs last year. I hate to think about what his numbers would look like now. If he was starting his career today with the new dimensions that we're about to see at Kauffman Stadium versus, he'll get it for the first time at 36 years old. Absolutely agree he's in. If WAR is the issue, take out all the players out of the Hall for whom WAR was not a factor. Yeah, I mean, it's a decent surface level stat, but there's far too many people in baseball today who are taking wins above replacement as the end-all be-all without acknowledging how it skews. It skews in the favor of guys who play a lot in the field. Right? Your WAR is dissipated if you're playing a position that is less quote-unquote valuable fielding-wise. WAR affects first basemen. WAR affects catchers. It affects designated hitters, obviously. That's why every single year, who leads the league in wins above replacement? Every year, it's outfielders. Every single year it does.
Pretty much.
And it also skews towards teams that win. It's really hard to have a WAR of 8 or 9 if you're playing on a team that wins 60 games.
I think that's what's made Mike Trout's career so incredible.
Yeah.
Because he's been putting up those WARs on Angels teams that do nothing. Like, it's just been... So Ohtani did the same thing when he was on the Angels, too. They were both putting up 7-8 WAR seasons, and the team was somehow 70 and 92. It was just ridiculous.
Salvador Perez should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame when he finally decides to hang it up.
I agree.
I don't know how you can continue to make that argument. He's 5th all-time among catchers in home runs. 5th. 6th all-time in RBIs. He's 6 away from... He'll pass Yadier Molina this year. He's likely to pass Lance Parrish and move into 4th. He needs 55, RBIs to pass Lance Parrish for the 4th most home runs, or RBIs, among catchers. He's got 4 less home runs than Gary Carter, 8 less home runs than Pudge Rodriguez, and he's got 21 less home runs than Lance Parrish. He hits 22 home runs this year. He is 2nd, behind only Johnny Bench, for the most home runs by a primary catcher in baseball history. And he's won 5 Gold Gloves and a World Series MVP and multiple Silver Slugger awards and a Clemente Award. If Carlos Beltran's a Hall of Famer, so is Salvador Perez. 913-586-7965 is our number. Got on my soapbox, ran way late on that segment. That's fine. When we come back, let's get into some more NFL conversation because the Buffalo Bills are going absolutely bat bleep crazy right now for all the wrong reasons. Thank you, Clark Hunt, for being a reasonable human being and not the owner of the Buffalo Bills right now. We'll discuss that next here on After Hours. Logan Weber, Jackson Hogden, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Lacey, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. And yes, I'm actually a jeweler. I bring dream engagement rings to life every day in our jeweler workshop. When I hand set your diamond into your ring, I think about creating a piece you'll wear for a lifetime. I pay attention to the smallest details and treat every ring with the same care and craftsmanship, no matter the size or price. Come see us in store. Shane Company engagement rings are crafted with care from our hands to yours, because a friend knows your love deserves the highest quality. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
I wish I'd gotten treated for my erectile dysfunction sooner. Men, I hear this all the time from our patients. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, resolve to get it treated today and stop having it affect you and the one you love. ED is simply a medical condition, and it's fully treatable. And at Heartland Men's Health, we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Which means if you're like most guys, your ED will be a thing of the past. In fact, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and you'll likely find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. It's the new year. Resolve to get your ED treated and change your life. Call us at Heartland Men's Health. Your initial visit is only $99. It includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Did you know that you can watch all your favorite shows right on YouTube? We're live streaming Fesco and Dusty, Cody and Gold, The Drive, and After Hours all day long. So if you want to look at the beautiful Alex Gold, interact with Cody Tapp in the chat, or gaze at the ruggedly handsome Dusty Likens, just go to YouTube and watch them while you pretend to work. Go to our channel, hit subscribe, and stay up to date with 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
I gotta go ahead and correct myself. I was looking at a list completely incorrectly. Salvi's actually 8th all-time in home runs. Sitting in his career, 4 behind Gary Carter, who's 7th. 8 behind Pudge Rodriguez in 6th. He is 21 home runs behind Lance Parrish for 5th. He's 33 home runs behind Yogi Berra, who sits 4th all-time. And currently, he's 53 home runs away from Johnny Bench, who is 3rd all-time. Carlton Fisk is 2nd with 366, and then Piazza's got 399. Don't think he's going to be able to catch Fisk or Piazza, but I absolutely believe in 2 seasons, he could pass Yogi Berra and comfortably put himself 4th all-time. 53 home runs, that's an average of about 27 home runs a year over the next 2 years. Feels like a lot to ask of Salvi at this point in his career, but he could theoretically pass Johnny Bench and be 3rd among primary catchers in baseball history for home runs. He's 14th all-time in RBIs, but he'll move up considerably this year. He needs 2 more RBIs to pass Brian McCann, 5 to pass Jorge Posada. He needs 6 home runs to pass Yadier Molina. He needs 54 more RBIs to pass Lance Parrish and get 10th all-time on the list. 9th all-time is Gary Carter, who has 141 more RBIs. So he'd have to average 70-plus ribbies in each of the next 2 years in order to surpass him. Feels like a strong ask. But the world does exist where he could be top 5 in home runs and top 10 in RBIs among catchers ever, while also being tied for 6th all-time in Gold Glove awards by a catcher with 5. He sits 18th among catchers in baseball history in hits. He's got about 34. He's about 34 behind Deacon McGuire, who's 17th. Johnny Bench sits in 14th all-time with 1,811 hits. You're looking, what does a catcher average year over year in terms of hits? Salvi, for his career, a guy hitting 264, he averages about 160 hits a season. So let's say he has 300 hits over the next 2 years. That would take him from 1712 to 2000, which would put him 8th all-time, roughly. You can't keep out a guy who's top 10 all-time in hits, home runs, RBIs, and Gold Gloves at the position. Just can't do it. I don't care what his WAR is. Just remember the outfield fence is coming in 10 feet. He could hit way more home runs this year and next year. I hope. That would be fantastic. I think it'll be a greater benefit to like Vinny or Bobby, but it could certainly help Salvi. I think they said last year he could have had 3 or 4 more home runs, depending on which research study you're looking at. Somebody in the text line said they wrote their data analyst degree final about how WAR and framing are subjective stats and should be omitted from Major League Baseball simply because they don't rely on data that is objectively calculated. They're calculated differently depending on organization and website.
I hope you got 100% on that. I love that.
It's a good point. I mean, again, I am one of those people. I am as strong an advocate for statistics in sports as you're going to find. I am a numbers guy. I am. When I'm looking at a player, the first thing I look at is their numbers.
Right.
Because you can't watch everything. As much as you may try, you can't watch everything.
Right.
You look at their numbers, and then you sit and watch. The two need to go hand in hand with one another. They can't be just one or the other. You can't just watch what a guy does on the court or on the field and say, oh, yeah, he's a great player, because his numbers may tell you something different. The answer may be somewhere in the middle of those two things. Right? I mean, numbers obviously help. I mean, watch the movie Moneyball, will you? Anybody out there? I mean, without numbers, without analytics, certain guys would have never gotten chances. Without statistics, without numbers, I'm not sure. Isaiah Thomas is a great example. No, not the Pistons Isaiah Thomas. Yeah. The Celtics Isaiah Thomas. Very, very, small by any standard to play in the NBA. Most people wrote him off. He was the last pick in the NBA draft because he was decent at the University of Washington. Bounced around the league for a while. He shows up in Boston and they're like, you know what? We think you can play a little bit. Your numbers are pretty good. Here's the basketball. You're our starting point guard. And what does he do but light the friggin' world on fire for a couple of years? And then ultimately falls into obscurity once again. But they need to be paired with one another. It's a good side and a good entree. But those two things don't always coincide separately.
Well, and I think to say, like, batting average is an objective stat.
100%.
You either got the hit or you didn't. And that's
home runs, RBIs.
And it's kind of like WAR feels a little bit like PFF, where it's like, this is how we think this player looked, or this is how we would grade this player. Well, that's objective, man. You can't say a home run's a home run, right? You can't say it's not a home run. That's a fact. Everybody has to agree on that. But if you say, well, this guy's, and you even see it, Fangraphs and Baseball Reference have different WARs for the same player in the same season, and it's drastic.
Yeah, it's the same statistic, WAR, but everybody seems to have a different formula for it. There's a different mathematical equation depending on what site you look at. I mean, according to Pro Baseball Reference gives Salvi a 35.5 WAR for his career. You look other places, it's not the same. His WAR on ESPN is slightly different than it is on Baseball Reference. And that's just how this thing shakes out. His WAR on Fangraphs, as I look at it, 19. What? How does he have a WAR of 19?
That's what I'm saying. How can you have a 35.5 Baseball Reference WAR and a 19 Fangraphs WAR? How can it be that different when the other numbers, the batting average, the RBIs, the home runs are all the same? I don't get it. I just don't understand it. I don't think a lot of people do.
And they shouldn't. 913-586-7965 is our number. Let's talk about the Bills. I've held it off long enough. I've got things to say, but I can't imagine it's as inflammatory as the things the Bills owner's already been saying today. 913-586-7965. Logan Weber, Jackson Ogden, After Hours, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Start the new year by moving, not hurting. If joint pain's holding you back, then listen up. There's a way to get real relief without surgery, without downtime, and without putting your life on pause. QC Kinetics delivers regenerative treatments that actually help your body repair the areas causing you pain. Those achy knees, hips, shoulders, your back, wherever it hurts. Instead of facing an invasive operation that sidelines you for months, these treatments happen right in the office and you go about your day. Skip the 3 to 6 months of recovery. Skip the pain. Skip the invasive surgery. Imagine this instead. You're moving stronger and better and planning the year you want. Game-changing regenerative treatments from QC Kinetics. January is supposed to be your clean slate, so make it one. Stop managing the pain and start solving it with QC Kinetics. Call now for your free consultation. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. Off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone, it's QC Kinetics.
Football playoffs are here, and Underdog is the best place to get in on the gridiron action because you can make entries and win money. Right now in Missouri, it is incredibly easy to get started over on Underdog. Just choose one of your favorite players and choose if they'll go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. Get them right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. The best place to get in on the gridiron action right now in Missouri. Underdog. Make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncbgambling.org.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Boy, the Buffalo Bills are in turmoil right now. So you lose in the divisional round to the Denver Broncos, miss out on your best chance ever to get to the Super Bowl, at least since Josh Allen became the starting quarterback. Then you fire Sean McDermott. Maybe more hurtful to your franchise, you promoted Brandon Beane. And now you have today. Buffalo Bills owner Terry Pegula, speaking with the media, said some of the wildest things I've ever heard. Said, quote, "My decision to bring in a new coach was based on the results of our game in Denver." Said that, the fact that the team had hit the proverbial playoff wall, he said. We hit every year after year, we hit the proverbial playoff wall. 13 seconds, missed field goals, the catch. So I just cinched in that locker room, like, where do we go from here with what we have? And that was the basis for my decision. Defended his decision-making. He defended Brandon Beane, saying that at one point, when he was asked about some of the roster shortcomings, putting the blame on Sean McDermott for drafting Keon Coleman.
Who is still on the roster, by the way.
Correct.
This is a active player on the Bills. And they put the blame on the head coach, which, by the way, clips resurfaced from the combine that year of Brandon Beane, the GM, saying good things about Keon Coleman and liking Keon Coleman. So that's completely out the window that it was all Sean McDermott. But, Logan, I just can't even imagine this happening anywhere else. Like, could you imagine on the Chiefs if Clark Hunt got up there and he was like, well, it was Andy's idea to get Sky Moore, not Veach's. You don't do that.
No.
That's not how you operate as a professional sports team.
Not even a little bit. Yeah, he said, quote, this is his exact quote. I'll address the Keon situation. The coaching staff pushed to draft Keon. I'm not saying Brandon wouldn't have drafted him, but Coleman wasn't his next choice. Hey, dog. Like, it's one thing to say that about a guy that's no longer on your roster. It's something completely different to say it about somebody who is on your football team still.
Yeah, Can I interrupt? I'll address the Keon situation. The coaching staff pushed to draft Keon. I'm not saying Brandon wouldn't have drafted him, but he wasn't his next choice.
What are you doing?
That's horrible. That is just, there's bad owners in sports. Dan Snyder was a terrible one. Jerry Jones has gotten in the way of the Dallas Cowboys' success many times in the last couple decades, but man, this is all time. Getting up there and bashing a current player on your football team, who, by the way, not even a week ago just scored a touchdown for you in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's only 22 years old.
He just scored a touchdown for you on Sunday, or last Saturday in Denver.
Has it been disappointing? Yes,
Sure.
without question,
Yeah.
It's been disappointing. But it's not as if his career is just over with.
Right.
I mean,
it might be over in Buffalo now.
Yeah,
I mean,
God, I wouldn't want to go back to work.
I can't imagine Keon Coleman wanting to be there anymore.
Could you imagine being publicly reprimanded to that magnitude?
It's terrible.
By the owner of your organization. Like, it just, for the sake of comparison, right? It would be one thing if, say, I am Keon Coleman in this situation. It would be one thing for me to say or do something, or not say or not do something on the radio, and Steven Spector, our program director, were to come into this studio and reprimand me on the air about it. That's one thing. It would be something completely different for, like, the owner of Odyssey to come down to the radio station and reprimand me on our radio. Like, that is outrageous. And those things don't happen. I mean, you're right. This is
unprofessional
horrific.
Is really the best way to put it. I mean, it's very unprofessional. And you already fired Sean McDermott. Why are we continuing to throw him under the bus? It felt like he was throwing Sean McDermott under the bus to validate his own reasons to keep the GM, right?
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
Felt like he was just basically saying, like, well, I'm right to keep the GM because even these bad draft picks weren't his fault. It was Sean McDermott's fault. By the way, the Bills were a joke before Sean McDermott got there. Sean McDermott got there before Josh Allen and took the Bills to the playoffs for the first time in 17 years. People forget that, but he got that franchise back to the postseason for the first time in the 21st century whenever he took over there in the mid-2010s prior to Josh Allen. To treat him now, after he's already been fired, like he was just some guy completely weighing down the organization and that it's all his fault. Again, we've said scapegoat a lot in the last couple of shows, but it feels like a gigantic scapegoat. Not that Sean McDermott deserved to keep his job, but he doesn't deserve to be publicly called out like this.
Just outrageous. Yeah, just the level of grandstanding that is being conducted by the Buffalo Bills right now to try to prop up Brandon Beane at the moment. Because not only did he not get fired, not only did he get promoted, but he's also keeping the general manager tag. Like, that's something that I feel like people aren't quite grasping. He is now the president of football operations as well as the general manager of the football team. What in the hell is going on?
The other thing that confused me about this, Logan, is Sean McDermott's a defensive coach. Like, that he's a defensive guy. Why was his opinion put at the very top for Keon Coleman, a wide receiver?
Yeah.
Shouldn't that have been the general manager's decision? And then they said, well, Brandon Beane was just, quote, being a team player by doing it. That's not what being a GM is.
No.
You're the general manager. It's your job to step in and make the decision.
Like, if it's, and again, I'm not saying that that's entirely the case in everybody's situation, right? I mean, obviously there have been times over the years, I can imagine, where Andy has gone to Brett Veach and been like, hey, I really like this guy. Veach may not have had as strong an opinion the same way, or maybe he disagreed with him completely and went with it. But it's Andy Reid.
And it's also one thing if Andy says that about a McCole Hardman versus if Andy says that about a defensive player, because Andy's an offensive guy.
Yeah.
But Sean McDermott's a defensive guy.
Like, Sean McDermott doesn't have the pedigree, doesn't have the reputation to follow through. Like, you'd be like, okay, coach, yeah, I'll take it under advisement. But at the end of the day, you're still the general manager. You still told him to fill out the card. I don't care how bad somebody else pushed for it. It's ultimately your decision, buddy. And I don't know. I can't believe that Pagula would say something like that in a presser. I can't imagine that Brandon Beane would just allow that to happen. Like, he wouldn't say anything. I just sat there and let that comment fly, knowing that that Keon Coleman is still a member of your football team, knowing that you're still going to be expecting him to make the turn. You drafted him 33rd overall last season. 2 seasons ago, I guess now, 2024. But dumb as hell. Just dumb as hell. 913-586-7965 is our number. This whole league is being flat out goofy right now. And looking at some comments that were made today, it could get more goofy. Diana Rossini is suggesting some things about A.J. Brown that, in my opinion, make absolutely no sense. Logan Weber alongside Jackson Ogden. You're listening to After Hours here on your home for Kansas City Sports, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City Sports, 96.5, The Fan.
Fellas, listen up. It's 2026, and this is going to be your best year yet when it comes to sex. You know why? Because you're finally going to take the advice and try chewable tablets from Blue Chew. Blue Chew's tablets help you feel and perform at your best, stronger, harder, longer lasting, like someone gave your downstairs a pep talk in a gym membership. Be more confident where it counts. Blue Chew is a small chew for a big difference. You'll have flashbacks to your glory days, and dating has just got longer and better for everyone. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient for your individual prescription. Just like how we love to watch the athletes that we root for show up during the game's most exciting moments, you should be able to show up when it matters during life's most exciting moments. You can discover your options at BlueChew.com and get your first month free when you use the promo code KFNZ at checkout. You just got to cover $5 for shipping. That's it. Go to BlueChew.com, use the promo code KFNZ, and get your first month free. Then you'll be ready to chew it and do it.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Heartland Men's Health today, because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with the ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Heartland Men's Health will give you back your sex life, because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
So one of the bigger off-season moves, or maybe not, that we are going to be tracking in the NFL this offseason is the tumultuous story of A.J. Brown. Drafted by Tennessee, they obviously didn't see a ton of success. He wanted out, gets traded to Philly. They have great success. He wins a Super Bowl. And then this past year, it was a dumpster fire. He and Nick Sirianni getting into it. Him and the offensive coordinator getting into it. Him saying cryptic things on social media. Trade rumors, this and that and the other thing. It seems like a lot of people are of the belief that the Eagles may be looking to move on from A.J. Brown this offseason. And Diana Rossini, who is one of the biggest names in the sports media world, was actually on The Herd today with Colin Cowherd, talking about some of the potential landing spots for A.J. Brown. And you may be surprised as to one of the names she threw out there.
They're not moving on from Jalen Hurts, right? So you're picking A.J. Brown or you're picking Jalen Hurts. Who are you picking? You're picking the quarterback. That's just how it works.
Right.
Plus the owner loves him. So, and he also is the Super Bowl MVP. So I think for A.J. Brown, I could easily see Buffalo showing interest. I could see Kansas City showing interest. Imagine him with Patrick Mahomes. So we'll see if they wind up working out a deal to get him out of Philadelphia, but I'd be surprised to see him as an Eagle next year.
Okay, so she is suggesting, Diana Rossini, that the Kansas City Chiefs could be interested in acquiring A.J. Brown. Do I hate the idea? No, not necessarily. A.J. Brown's been a very, very good player in his career. You know, unfortunately, he is approaching the wrong side of 30. He's going to be 29 years old next year. But maybe the biggest piece of pause that I have, he's due a hell of a lot of money. Next year, he's got a cap hit of $23 million. He's got an out for that 2027 season, which will incur a $31 million dead cap hit if they decide to do it. Then he's got $22 million, $27 million, $29 million. That's a lot. I mean, $100 million is a lot of money for the Chiefs to just be throwing around when they've got a ton that they've got to sort through right now. I don't think monetarily it makes a ton of sense for the Chiefs. That's just my opinion on it.
And again, it goes back to our earlier conversation about DeAndre Swift. What draft capital do you have to even get him?
Yeah.
You have 6 total picks. Are you going to give up a second-round pick or a third-round pick for him this year? I'm not.
No.
I'm not taking on that cap hit with A.J. Brown's attitude problems. Absolutely not.
And, Buffalo, they are certainly among the most desperate to get wide receiver help. You pair a true wide receiver one with Josh Allen and see where it takes you. It's not like they're sitting there in comfortability cap-wise either, where, looking at next season, Josh Allen's got a cap hit of $56 million. Deion Dawkins, nearly 25. Ed Oliver, $24 million. Spencer Brown, nearly 19.5. Dawson Knox, your backup tight end, has a cap hit of $18.7 million next year. Josh Palmer, 11.8. Greg Rousseau, 11.8. Teron Johnson, 11.5. That's just for next year. Right now, they're currently sitting with the 12th highest salary cap in football. I don't see how both of those teams look like great fits on the field, but neither one of them feels like great fits monetarily. Neither one of these teams right now can afford a $23 million cap hit for next year. Neither one of them. And it's certainly not for what they would be asked to give up in return for a player like A.J. Brown. Can you imagine EB and A.J. Brown locking horns? Ooh-wee, it'd be a pay-per-view level fight, baby. 913-586-7965. Much more coming up, our final hour of After Hours. We'll talk more about the confirmation today. Eric Bieniemy returning to be the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs. A former Royals superstar is being inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Some college basketball news. All 3 local teams, KU, K-State, Mizzou, were in action yesterday. And how about Indiana? I wasn't on air yesterday. We had K-State basketball, so I didn't get to talk about Indiana winning a national championship in football, as if things that may not be a weirder phrase that gets uttered in the year of our Lord 2026. But here we are. Logan Weber, Jackson Ogden, you're listening to After Hours, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, Mom. It's me. Oh, my gosh. You'll never believe what I just opened for Valentine's Day. A sapphire ring from Hellsberg. Just like the one I lost years ago. Remember how excited I was when you gave it to me? I cannot believe you remembered that story. I guess you were right. I really found the one.
This Valentine's Day, create a moment that means something with up to 40% off gifts at Hellsberg. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
That's another amazing run by Team USA.
Mom, think I'll be on Team USA one day?
Well, I'll take this one.
What? Are you speaking to us?
Yes, and to answer your question, anything's possible, especially with Xfinity.
So, I can be the best snowboarder ever?
Well, I can't guarantee that, but Xfinity can guarantee that your internet price won't change for 5 years.
Okay. What if I practice every day?
Then maybe you'll be snowboarding for Team USA at the next Olympic Winter Games. And Mom, you'll still be paying the same price for Wi-Fi.
Ooh, really stuck the landing there.
It's the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get our best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed, just $50 a month. Plus, get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 value per month. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
When winter's chill hits, trust Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. For a limited time, get up to $2,000 in instant savings on a new HVAC system from Hamilton. Our pros offer expert installation, flexible financing, and energy-efficient options that can help lower your energy bills. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. But don't wait. This is a limited time offer. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
FanDuel is turning on playoff mode. All customers get a profit boost pack with every NFL playoff game day. Each game day during the championship round, you'll get a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you in the app. More boosts mean more ways to level up your playoff bets. We are just a couple of weeks away from the NFL season completely winding down, and we're going to find out who plays in the big game. Pick the matchups you believe in, take your shot on an upset, and build a parlay that fits this championship moment. Then apply those profit boosts and go for an even bigger payout to keep the playoffs fun rolling along. We are just a couple of weeks away from the NFL season completely winding down, and we're going to find out who plays in the big game. Visit FanDuel.com/local and grab your profit boost pack for every NFL playoff game day. FanDuel is the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. Must be 21 and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable profit boost token. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM HD1 and HD2 Kansas City. An Odyssey Sports Station.
I may not be a very lengthy lived person. I don't know. I haven't been around that long, right? I'm only 27 years old. But as you progress through life, there's just certain things that you never think you'll see, right? And for me, one of those things is a program like Indiana being competitive in football. I mean, this is the team that became 3 years ago the first FBS football program to hit 700 losses. It's the worst football program in major Division I football history. And now they're national champions. I have a hard time wrapping my head around it. For a program like Indiana to come seemingly out of nowhere with a guy like Kurt Signetti leading them, who at the time of his hiring at Indiana, he'd never coached major Division I football. He didn't get a head coaching job till he was 50. And that was at IUP. That is the Indiana University Purdue, by the way. Not Purdue or Indiana. He then goes to Elon. Mind you, those were both FCS programs. And then gets the job at James Madison, who during his tenure made the jump from FCS to FBS. He gets the job at Indiana at 62 years old. And what does he do? 11-2 in his first year, losing in the first round of the college football playoff to Notre Dame. And in his second year, does something that hasn't been done since Yale in 1894, and that is go 16-0 and win a national championship at the highest level of college football. I feel like, and this is, some may argue with it, this, for my money, has got to be the single greatest turnaround in the history of sports. I mean, they had never had a double-digit winning season in school history, and they do it in back-to-back years with a national championship in year 2. I mean, it boggles the mind how they were able to do this. And to go from a program that wasn't winning and you fire a guy and 2 years later the guy you brought in wins you a national championship, that's a turnaround that you can, clap your hands at a program like a Michigan or Ohio State or Alabama, but you're like, it's still a Michigan, Ohio State, or Alabama. Like, it's still a quote-unquote, as people like to call, blue blood program that has seen tremendous success in the past. None of that exists at Indiana. I mean, they hadn't won an outright conference championship since World War II. And then they beat Ohio State in an era of college football like we have today, and then boat race Alabama and Oregon before beating Miami and winning a national championship. Beating Miami, I might add, on their home field. It was a home game for the Hurricanes for a national championship. They had the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback, the guy who is going to be the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft at quarterback. I mean, I'm trying to think in my brain, like, what are some of the others? Like, maybe the Rams in 99? To go from like 4-12 the year before, you then go 13-3 and you win the Super Bowl after Trent Green goes down in the preseason with an injury, and you're led by Kurt Warner, an undrafted guy from Northern Iowa who people had completely written off and was playing Arena League football in Des Moines. And he wins the MVP. You set league records for scoring and total yards. You became the greatest show on turf. That's a really good turnaround. I know that another one that people are going to talk at length about, and that being here in this area, K-State, right? What Bill Snyder was able to do at Kansas State when he arrived here. They'd only ever been to one bowl game in the history of that program. When he arrived in 1989, they were the worst team in college football. And it wasn't particularly close. I mean, this is nuts. In 1987, 1988 combined, under Stan Parrish, his last 2 years before he was fired and Bill Snyder took over, K-State football went a combined 0-21-1. Back-to-back winless seasons. 2 bowl games in the history of the school. Prior to Bill Snyder's arrival, the winningest coach in the history of the program was Bo McMillan, who went 29-21 from the years of 1928 to 1933. Woo! And he shows up, Bill Snyder does, and just did remarkable things. Finishing in the near the top of the conference, playing in conference championship games, multiple top 10 finishes, double-digit win seasons. It's obviously, I would say that's probably the second greatest turnaround in college football history. But the heights that Curt Cignetti has led this Indiana football program to in 2 years.
You're never going to see it again. This is it. I mean, there will never be a turnaround like this again. He did this with a bunch of players from James Madison. Like, a lot of this roster came over from James Madison.
Yeah, and just transfers from other schools, and these weren't like super high profile transfers. I mean, like even Fernando Mendoza, I'm not sure, was he even a top 10 quarterback in the transfer portal when he goes to Indiana from Cal?
I mean, he was a guy that I know Mizzou was a little bit in on too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't, but nobody thought he was going to go there and win the Heisman.
No. I mean, a 2-star prospect coming out of high school from Miami, I might add, who ends up with a late scholarship offer to Cal, goes.
I was going to say, Miami didn't even let him walk on.
No. And to go back to his home state, to his hometown and win the national championship against the team he grew up rooting for as a kid, just, it's remarkable, man. It really, really is. But God, I don't want to see it again. Let me be honest. I don't. I
have a feeling this is the beginning of Signetti and not the end.
I know.
I mean, the recruits in the portal, the recruits and the transfers are only going to get better, right?
After you did what you just did?
You're only going to get better talent now than what you had.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody could argue that Indiana was the most talented team in the country. They're not. They were not this year. Ohio State had more talent. There was tons of schools with more talent. But from coaching and just from the way they meshed, that team was unbeatable. They beat Oregon by like 40.
Yeah,
that Oregon team was
34.
good.
Yeah, beat Alabama by 35.
That Alabama team wasn't great, but they were decent.
I mean, beating Alabama by 35 after you got a first-round bye, which prior to Indiana, I mean, last year's 12-team format, every team that got a first-round bye lost. Indiana was the first team in the 12-team format of the college football playoff to win after getting a first-round bye.
They're still the only team.
And they beat them 38-3.
I mean, it's insane. 2 years in this new format, there's been 8 teams with a first-round bye so far. Indiana's the only one to even win a singular game. That's coaching. Because what I think happens with a lot of those teams, Logan, is they're college kids. They get a month off. It's whatever. They're a little laissez-faire. They're chilling, kicking back while these other teams are getting ready to play a game in the first round. And then all of a sudden, they have to go back out and play again, and they haven't played in a month. And that gets a lot of them. Not a Kurt Signetti team. They were ready to go immediately.
And, I mean, it's somewhat scary to look at what they did last year. Indiana's transfer portal class from last year, a huge part of why they were able to win the national championship this year. One, I believe, was considered a quote-unquote 4-star, two guys that were quote-unquote 4-star transfer portal guys. 2 of them. One of them being Fernando Mendoza, who was a 93 rating, which put him firmly as a 4-star. He was the number 22 overall player in the transfer portal class, 4th overall quarterback. That's according to 24/7 Sports. And Pat Coogan, who was one of their starting offensive linemen last year, transferring from Notre Dame. So 2 4-star or better guys out of the transfer portal in 2025. This year's transfer portal class includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4-stars. Nick Marsh, who is one of the better wide receivers in all of college football, he'll pair extremely well with Josh Hoover, another 4-star they got from TCU out of the transfer portal. I'm with you. I have a hard time thinking that this thing is going to slow down. I mean, it's absolute insanity to me. Indiana was lucky to pull a top 70 recruiting class before Kurt Signetti arrived. They have the number 23 class in the country right now. That doesn't happen.
I think the only equivalent you could put it into for at least locally sports fans is if Kansas football went from the 2010s Kansas football to this. That's basically what just happened. Indiana football maybe wasn't as bad as 2010's Kansas football, but it was on that level. It was bad. And to turn around in in a 2-year streak they go 27-2 in 2 years? I mean, it'd be one thing if Cignetti took over and then 5 years later they became a juggernaut. They did it immediately. And people after last year thought it was a fluke. Well, they had an easy schedule, whatever. And then this year they went into Oregon and won. I don't care that Penn State had a down year. It's still hard to win at Penn State. They beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. There's no explaining it other than this is unprecedented and we've never seen anything like it before.
Never. And we'll see if it continues, right? Somebody in the text line says what you have to ask yourself is, did Indiana catch lightning in a bottle and do something that can't be duplicated again? Or did they just tap in to the new normal? It's a great question, right? I mean, these last couple of years at Indiana, it's been a combination of guys that stayed loyal to the program and stuck around like a Charlie Becker, guys that Cignetti brought over with him from James Madison, plus guys that they were able to evaluate and bring in from the transfer portal that bought in to the philosophy that Curt Cignetti implemented at Indiana. And more so than anything, give this man a tremendous amount of credit for how quickly he was able to implement a culture at a program that had never really had one successfully, I guess you could say, right? We hear coaches talk about that all the time, the culture of the program, the culture of this and the culture of that, the culture of the organization. That's all well and good. It's easier said than done. But Curt Cignetti made it seem, for lack of a better term, seamless. And we'll see if that continues. It's going to be fascinating to see, right? Because I feel like we have a level playing field now. You know, I know that jokes are made about it all the time. The Pat McAfee and some of those guys, you know, or the Shane Gillis game day thing a couple of years ago, making fun of the SEC because now everybody gets to pay their players, right? I mean, the Big Ten's won the last 3 national championships now. And it's 3 different schools that have done it.
Well, not in the last 3 years, but right before that, TCU was in the national championship game. So there's going to be more parity in college football than there's ever been. There was a long time there, Logan, really up until the 2020s in NIL, where it felt like, I'm sure you felt this as an Iowa fan, I've felt it as a Mizzou fan, where you felt like a successful season is going like 10-2, winning your conference and getting a good bowl. You never thought you were winning a national championship. Like that didn't seem possible. And now all of a sudden it's like 12-team playoff, NIL, Indiana just turned their program around. Who's to say it can't happen now?
Yeah, there are a lot of coaches across the country right now that are fuming at the idea that Indiana just won a national championship because good enough is no longer going to be good enough.
I mean, heck,
what's
Mizzou paying Drinkwitz? $13 million a year, I think, in what, to go 8-5?
Yeah, how much longer can you sit by if you're an athletic director or the president of a university where you're constantly winning 8, 9, 10 games a year, and then you look across at a program like Indiana, which prior to Curt Cignetti's arrival was the worst program in FBS football historically, winning a national championship, and go, well, they did it. Why can't we do that?
Right? It's going to be I'm sure there are ADs out there saying,
it's showing that you can do it anywhere. Could
be part of the reason a guy like James Franklin got fired from Penn State this year, where they're like, this is Penn State. You can't get it done here. Curt Cignetti just went to Indiana, who was at the bottom of this conference when James Franklin started at Penn State and surpassed you in 2 years. Like, the expectations might start rising for these other programs.
As if they hadn't already.
Right.
They're now going to rise even more.
I mean, Alabama just went to the college football playoff and won a playoff game, and DeBoer's looked at as like, is he a good coach? Is he good enough to be the Alabama head coach? You know, there's a standard there, and it hasn't been met.
913-586-7965 is our number. More coming up, including some college basketball news. KU against Colorado last night. K-State, Utah. Mizzou was hosting 21st ranked Georgia yesterday at Mizzou Arena. We'll discuss all 3 of those games next here on After Hours. Logan Weber, Jackson Ogden, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
And Doug.
Oh, what a horrible call. Hey, ref, open your eyes.
Ref, you're really not going to call that? Come on.
Hey, ref, why don't you customize your car insurance with Liberty Mutual and save money?
I don't think you get what we're doing.
Sure I do. We're all just giving him advice. You guys on sports, me on saving money.
Nope, that's not it.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The football playoffs are here, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all of the gridiron action. Right now, you can make entries and win money in Missouri. And playing on Underdog is so easy. Just choose if your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats, like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. Get them right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. And I love playing on the Underdog app. Not only do I like football, but I love basketball and hockey as well. I can mix and match selections from each sport into one entry to see what I do. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code BOB to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code BOB. Underdog. Make plays, win money. Must be 18 and over and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms. _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're ready to improve your health. But if you're feeling low energy, not sleeping well, or not seeing results in the gym, keeping that resolution can be tough. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if those symptoms sound familiar, we can likely help. They often point to low testosterone, and treating low T is what we do. But this year, we're also helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring growth hormone peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more. Designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. With our low T treatments combined with our body composition programs, most men notice real improvements. More energy, better focus, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and often a renewed sex drive as well. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Future therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Hey, it's Josh Vern. You're in before I head out to Arizona to see the boys in blue in spring training. I'll be hosting the Royals Rally Show live from Kauffman Stadium on Saturday, January 31st, starting at 9 a.m. The biggest names in the organization will join me for exclusive one-on-one interviews as they get ready for the 2026 season. If you miss any of the show, it'll all be available afterwards on the All Things Vern podcast channel. The Royals Rally Show, Saturday, January 31st, starting at 9, right here on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
A couple things before we get into some college basketball conversation. I got some folks in the text line. Somebody said, I haven't confirmed, but the number I heard was $21 million NIL bankrolled by Cuban, which also helps. And I don't know the exact figure either, but I do know that Mark Cuban, former majority owner of the Dallas Mavericks, the Shark Tank guy, all the things, donated a, hefty amount of money to the University of Indiana for the athletic department specifically, something that he said he had never done before. So, yeah, it helps when you have billionaires that are willing to shell out big time bucks to help your program. And I can only imagine that will continue and maybe even get bigger based off of the success that they had this year winning a national championship.
Steve Chronic Edom Zoo, please. Please. He's richer than Mark Cuban. Come on.
I got a 562 says the Raiders should see if they can pair their number 1 pick with his college coach. I don't think that's happening. Kurt Cignetti.
Absolutely not.
Kurt Cignetti says he's a college guy. He was interviewed about that beforehand. Would you consider a jump to the NFL? He said, no, I'm a college football guy. This is what I want to do. Said he had opportunities in the past to make the leap to the NFL as a position coach or an offensive analyst, and said no because he wants to coach college football. That's where he believes he's best served, and that's where he will continue to be. So, no, I don't see Curt Cignetti leaving Indiana, especially with that fat new contract they just gave him in Bloomington. And a 913 who says, do you think this will cause non-football schools to get more money thrown into their program? Yeah, I mean, frankly, yeah, I think so. If they can do it, right? If they've got the boosters and the supporters to bankroll it, certainly. Because number one, a good football program generates buku bucks to an institution. That's the first thing. And, it's one thing to be like, oh, yeah, well, we can make a lot of money off of it, which is in a capitalist society, first and foremost on anybody's mind. But now that we've seen Indiana throw, they put all the money into their athletic department, and then saw the benefits, they reaped the benefits. They won a national championship, showed that they can win both monetarily and on the field. Who's to say other programs aren't going to do that now? All right, look at a program like Vanderbilt, bottom feeder for generations in the Southeastern Conference. They were nearly in the college football playoff this year and just landed the number one quarterback in the country to come play football there next year in Nashville. Yeah, I could definitely see, if it's not already happening, I could definitely see institutions throwing more money into their football programs for how much money they can earn if they develop a good product, and the fact that they've now gotten a blueprint. They have seen a roadmap on how to go from afterthought to national champion at that level. In college basketball news, last night, both KU, K-State, and Mizzou were in action, and despite the absence of Bill Self yesterday for the Jayhawks, they still went on the road yesterday and got a huge win against Colorado, 75-69. There was a bit of a scare during the course of play. Darren Peterson went down. I got a text immediately from my brother saying, I think Darren Peterson just tore his ACL, and not 5 minutes later, he was back out on the floor. So I was like, I feel like you might have.
That's the typical fan experience right there.
I feel like you might have just you jumped the gun a little bit there, Coleman. But regardless, he didn't have a great shooting night. He was 6 of 15 from the floor, but he still finished with 16 points, 6 rebounds in the game as well, played 32 minutes. Another fairly solid night for Trey White and Melvin Council. Those two combined for 35 points on 10 of 19 shooting. Trey White, ultra aggressive on the glass and getting to the foul line. He had 15 rebounds, and he was 9 of 10 from the stripe. Flory Badunga had nearly a double-double. But maybe the most important thing was how good Kansas was defensively yesterday, holding Colorado to only 36% shooting. Jayhawks are now 14-5 on the year. They've won 3 straight games in the Big 12, including a road game, a huge 18-point victory against Baylor at home, and, of course, beating second-ranked Iowa State by 21, giving the Cyclones the first loss that they have this season. This Kansas team is playing the best basketball that it has played all year. I'm curious to know if Bill Self will be ready by the time they get to this upcoming weekend. Jayhawks on the road in Manhattan playing K-State. And for K-State, they'll come into that game this weekend with a little bit of momentum under their belts after they got a win against Utah yesterday. Is it a victory to write home about? No, not necessarily, because Utah came into the game 1-4 in the league. But a win's a win, because you were 0-5 if you're K-State. They win at 81-78. Shout out to PJ Haggerty, just putting the whole team on his back offensively. 34 points on, get this, 29 shot attempts. Just chucking it, dude. He only shot 4 threes. I mean, so he was getting it at the cup and from the mid-range, But goodness, 34 points on 29 shots is outrageous. K-State, as a team, very effective from the floor, and especially at the three-point line. David Castillo was 6 of 9 from behind the arc. Wildcats shot 52% from three for the game. Defense left something to be desired, especially inside in the paint. At the rim, Utah was incredibly effective. Terrence Brown finished with 33 on 24 shot attempts himself. But regardless, K-State's got to win in the Big 12, right? They're not going to go winless in the league. There's that. They're back above 500 now, 10-9 on the year. Only team yesterday locally to suffer a loss was Mizzou, losing 74-72 at home in heartbreaking fashion to 21st-ranked Georgia. Mark Mitchell finished with 18 points. Jaden Stone had 13 on a very inefficient 5 of 14 shooting. Jacob Cruz finished with 11. It was a bumbling night offensively for the Tigers in this one. They did a good job of taking care of the basketball, only 12 turnovers, but 40% shooting, 28% from the three-point, 7 of 25 from behind the arc, left a lot to be desired. Georgia won this game for the most part because of their aggressiveness in getting to the foul line. Georgia, 18 of 21 from the free throw line. Mizzou, 11 of 12. So, I mean, you were great when you were at the stripe. You just shot 9 less free throws than Georgia did. They made 7 more than you. You lost by 2.
That's a welcome sight, though, if you're Mizzou to shoot well at the free throw line. They have been terrible there this year.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
At least they shot well there at the free throw line. But, Logan, to me, this year's Missouri team is the definition of a bubble team. Like, they're not horrible. They're not special. Come Selection Sunday, they feel like they're going to be that last 4 teams in or last 4 teams out type of team. They're okay. And look, 2 years ago when they didn't win a conference game, then last year they make the tournament. So they just being on the bubble is not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, to me, at first when they beat Florida and then Kentucky, I was like, this maybe they got something here. But unfortunately, a couple of losses now in a row in SEC play, they feel like they're going to be a team come March Madness that is going to find themselves in the NIT.
Yeah, you started 2-0 in the SEC with those wins against Florida and Kentucky, and then you get to 3-1 after you lose to Ole Miss but bounce back at home and beat Auburn, and then you suffer back-to-back L's on the road at LSU, at home last night against Georgia, and you're sort of sitting there thinking, okay, what does the rest of the year look like for us? You know, they're going to have a matchup on Saturday against Oklahoma, a team that is at the bottom of the SEC standings right now. Then you got to follow it up and go on the road to Alabama. Then it's Mississippi State at home, another team that's towards the bottom of the league. At South Carolina, same situation, towards the bottom of the league. At home against Texas, who's towards the bottom of the league. Those are the games you have to win.
Well,
have to win.
And LSU was another one of those that they needed to win.
Yes.
LSU was winless in conference. That was a tough one to lose. You don't want to lose at home ever, but Georgia is a solid school, and also the road loss to Ole Miss, not the end of the world. Like I said, they seem like a bubble team. They seem like a team that all the way, like, it might come down to how they do in the SEC tournament to see if they are in or if they're out. They feel like one of those 11 seeds that has to play in the first 4. They're definitely not going to be as secure as they were last year when they were a 6 seed. It's just not quite as good of a team. But for my fellow Mizzou fans, the recruiting class next year looks really, really nice. So all is not lost.
Somebody in the text line just asked, how's Conzo Martin's Missouri State team looking so far? Middling.
They're above 500, right?
Yeah, 10-8 so far this year. They're 4-3 in Conference USA. Of course, their first year in the league after moving on from the Missouri Valley Conference. I just suddenly had a flashback to working in Springfield all of a sudden, covering Missouri State. But here we are. They've been better as of late. They got off to an incredibly slow start this year. They won their first 2 games, but Northwest Oklahoma State and Missouri Southern, a couple of D2 schools, don't elicit a great deal of confidence.
Those are the types of teams Kwanzaa will beat.
Yeah. University of Texas Rio Grande, but you lost to UT Arlington, Arkansas State. You lost by 14 to Long Island. You got blown out by Tulsa and Xavier. But since that loss to Xavier, they've been much better. They rattled off 5 consecutive wins against Oral Roberts, Lindenwood, Delaware, UTEP, New Mexico State. But in the last 4 games, it hasn't quite been the same situation. They lost on the road at Kennesaw. They recently, their last game, lost on the road against Middle Tennessee, lost on the road by 15 to Western Kentucky, which is one of the better teams in the league, I would say, along with like a Middle Tennessee as well. Kennesaw is 4-3 in the league, as is the Missouri State Bears right now. Liberty is undefeated. They're 7-0 in the conference, 15-3 overall. Their only win in the last week and a half plus was against Florida International, FIU, who they beat 79-71. FIU on the season is 9-9, and they are 2-5 in Conference USA play. So it is an up and down year. Will Mizzou ever hire a coach like Dan Hurley who wins national championships?
No.
I doubt it.
As a Mizzou fan, it is eternal suffering, and nothing will ever get better.
I mean, coaches who win, at least in college basketball, traditionally, coaches who win national championships go to programs that have won national championships.
I mean, yeah, Mizzou had, I'm completely blanking his name, who was the Utah Jazz head coach.
Quinn Snyder?
Quinn Snyder, yeah. They did have Quinn Snyder, and he was a great coach, but...
Quinn couldn't keep out of trouble.
That's true. And Dennis Gates has done a decent job at Mizzou. And like I said, the recruiting class next year isn't bad. We'll see. He's definitely done better than Quanzo Martin and Kim Anderson.
That's the big concern I have with Dennis Gates. Is he more of a
recruiter than a coach?
Like a John Calipari type, where he's tremendous on the recruiting trail and he can bring in big time talents, but the X's and O's kind of lag behind a little bit. That's a concern I have with Dennis Gates, right? That's sort of the feeling I got a little bit with Frank Haith when he was at Mizzou.
Yeah. Although Frank Haith, man, he had those guys as real contenders too. I'll never get over the loss to Norfolk. Just brutal.
I mean, are we giving Frank Haith credit for that, or should we give credit to Mike Anderson for that? This is a lot of Anderson, like the Pressies, those were
good times.
Those were Anderson's
Those were
kids,
good times.
I would say. But
one final update on local college teams that are D1. UMKC.
Oh, geez. They're firing their head coach at the end of the year.
I was going to bring it up.
Did you see that?
Yeah, Marvin Menzies will be done at the end of the year. They're 4-16.
They announced in mid-January they were going to fire the guy at the end of the season.
Very, very nice guy. Yeah, I feel bad for how it's gone. And they've had some talent there that's just gotten transferred to different bigger schools. Like they had a couple guys, I know one of which went to UCLA, one went to Arizona State. So it's tough when you're a mid-major program like you are Missouri State or UMKC, and you're fighting for scraps at the bottom. But yeah, the Roos will be looking for a head coach here at the end of the year.
It also doesn't help when you're the only Division I school in this like specific area, and you're getting out recruited by D2 schools.
Yeah, I mean Washburn's out.
I'm sorry,
them.
I've seen it for years. As a Northwest guy, I saw for years guys who had offers from UMKC end up at Northwest, end up at Pitt State, at Washburn, University of Central Missouri, Bennett Sturts.
No one offered him. No one even offered him.
UMKC was looking at him, and he's like, I'm going to go to Northwest.
They didn't, but yeah, UMKC never even gave him an offer.
No.
I mean, it was
ridiculous. Thank you.
Ridiculous.
As an Iowa fan,
I just want it to be
and
known,
a Northwest guy, I thank you.
As an alumni, I am willing to take the job at the end of this year. I'm willing. If they need me, I will take it and turn the program around.
Throwing your hat in the ring.
I'm throwing it in there right now. As an alumni of the university, I will turn us around and get us to March Madness.
I respect it. 913-586-7965 is our number. Logan Weber, Jackson Ogden. You're listening to After Hours, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Hey, it's almost Andy Reid. Who knew dressing up for a Halloween ball would change my life forever? Now I get to celebrate with the best fans and everything Kansas City. Oh, yeah! My journey also led me to Renner Garage Door, Casey's go-to team for garage door repair, replacement, and service since 1956. Renner features an MVP lineup from Delden, Amar, and Liftmaster.
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R.
I wish I'd gotten treated for my erectile dysfunction sooner. Men, I hear this all the time from our patients. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, resolve to get it treated today and stop having it affect you and the one you love. ED is simply a medical condition, and it's fully treatable. And at Heartland Men's Health, we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Which means if you're like most guys, your ED will be a thing of the past. In fact, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and you'll likely find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. It's the new year. Resolve to get your ED treated and change your life. Call us at Heartland Men's Health. Your initial visit is only $99. It includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
I'm worth more.
I'm worth more.
I'm worth a lot more.
And I completely agree. That's why I'll pay more for your car at GiveMeTheVin.com. That's the name of our new campaign. I'm worth more. You are worth more, and your car's worth more. And that's why I will pay more. And remember, if I don't beat the price on a CarMax or a Carvana deal, I'll pay you $100 at GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Let's go! You've still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
How do airplanes fly? What's in this box? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Learn how to store your gun securely and make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Jackson, I don't know how to tell you this, but it seems as if you've already got competition for the UMKC job opening.
I'm seeing this at the station.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
Apparently, Cody's already said he wants the job.
I'd have no problem being an assistant on the staff with Cody.
I mean, the guy's technically already employed by the university, right?
It's true.
He's an adjunct professor at UMKC.
Yeah.
In the broadcasting department.
Both me and Cody called games for UMKC basketball, obviously at different times. He's before me, but we've been around the program. Let us run it.
My closest connection to UMKC was I played in basketball tournaments there. That's about it. Played in the championship game of one of those tournaments in like 8th grade, and we played on the main floor there at UMKC.
Was that at Sweeney, or were they at
It's whatever the gym is that has all the courts on it.
Okay.
Like it is a weird it was a weird gym.
Like I say, because they the first thing I would pitch if I were the head coach there is we need our own arena. Right now they play in just the campus gym. It is
like the rec center basically.
It is honestly less than a high school stadium. It's not great.
Yeah, like I mean I can remember playing in that tournament and all these side courts that we would play on, and it was like the court in the middle had bleachers and stuff, and I'm like, what is that exactly? And somebody's like, that's where UMKC plays. I was like, they play in the rec center? I'm like, as a Division I school, like every other school, I mean, I know D3 schools that have their own gym. Like the University of Missouri, Kansas City. I apologize, Kansas City. Now it's not.
They just want to go by Kansas
UMKC
City now.
Anymore.
They just want to go by Kansas City.
Oh wow, because that distinction is so important to people.
And apparently,
now I sound like, I sound like those people when I was, when we were growing up. Like when I would say Central Missouri, they'd be like, oh, CMSU, or Missouri State, and they would be like, oh, SMSU. That's not what they call it anymore.
Right.
Now that's what I sound like. I apologize. I don't know. They got some things to figure out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure our listeners care that much about UMKC basketball, but
they play in like the Horizon
Summit
League.
Summit League,
right.
And
true one bidder.
The women's are doing a little better.
That's good.
There you go.
That's good. Somebody said I think he is also even prepared to pitch. Prepared a pitch to give to the administration since he is a professor there. I'd buy season tickets.
Oh, yeah.
Cody Tapp, head coach at UMKC. Jackson Ogden, assistant coach.
Let me be the assistant on this staff.
Dude, I'm at every game. Bro.
Right.
I'm at every game. Believe me.
Jackson, can you do after hours tonight? No, we're playing North Dakota State. I'm not going to be there. Sorry.
Oh, it'd be absolute cinema,
Summit League
dude.
has had some success in the tournament. Oral Roberts a couple years ago.
It's true.
Not a complete waste of a conference.
Hey, man. It's just hard because it is a truly one bid league.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you could go undefeated in the regular season. You won't, but you could.
Mhm.
If you don't win the conference tournament, you're not getting in.
Nope.
That's just the Summit League through and through.
It is tough. Yep.
913-586-7965 is our number. We'll come back and wrap things up here on this Wednesday night edition of After Hours. Talk a little bit more about the announcement today. Confirmation, Eric Bieniemy is once again the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs. Final thoughts next here on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hi, I'm Lexi, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company, where we're all about you. Your style, your budget, your dream engagement ring. We'll take total care of you. First, come browse all the beautiful settings in our cases. Take your time and try on as many as you want. You'll know when you put your ring on. Your heart will skip a beat. Now, onto your center stone. We can look at different diamond shapes and sizes until we find the perfect match. Come visit us in store, because a friend wants you to get exactly what you want. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Dane and Hughes here, and it's playoff time, and there's no better place to bet the chase for the championship than Circa Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be. Whether you're betting championship or conference futures, sides, totals, or prop bets for every round, there's no better place to make your bets throughout January all the way to the big game. Circa Sports, with high app limits, player-friendly pricing, and exceptional customer service. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Heartland Men's Health today, because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Heartland Men's Health will give you back your sex life, because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Midwest, winter 2026, Airman. Say, how's that utility bill? Even your level payment plan seems like it's tilting uphill? But wait, Airman here with some good news to re-level the playing field. Midwest Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is now offering up to $1,400 in rebates on qualifying Lennox home comfort systems. But hold on, there's more. Midwest is also stepping up with 60 months 0% financing with approved credit. And the newest Lennox systems produce air that is more pure, run quieter, and are significantly more efficient. So much so that your new lower utility bill will seem like a late Christmas present. $1,400 rebate and 60 months at 0%. Now that's more like it. Go to MidwestHeating.com or dial 943-8787 for details. And as so many of your neighbors have for the past 7 decades, trust your air to the best. Midwest. Midwest Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BLING to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BLING for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BLING for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
All but confirmed at this point, sources from CBS, ESPN, and many others saying that it is finalized. Eric Bieniemy will be returning to Kansas City as the offensive coordinator of the Chiefs. Of course, it was widely reported on Monday, but today we finally are getting confirmation from sources across the NFL landscape, and it has sort of drawn mixed reviews, I would say, from those of us that work here at the station to those of you listening to the station, right? I've heard from some of you that you love the idea. I've heard from some of you that you're skeptical about the idea. I've heard from some that you hate the idea. I fall somewhere in the skeptical category. And again, we talked about this earlier. Not necessarily skeptical of Eric Bieniemy and his ability, because he's shown he can do it. Right, did it with Kansas City for years and years, right? Yeah, Mahomes won an MVP, or a couple of MVPs, I should say, for that matter, under Eric Bieniemy, right? Won a Super Bowl under Eric Bieniemy. Saw the best seasons of his career thus far under EB before he left and went to Washington. But when he did leave and go to Washington, he struggled. As the primary play caller for the Washington Commanders, they finished in the bottom 5 of the league, and he was fired after 1 year. He goes to UCLA. They finish in the bottom half of the Big Ten. He's fired after 1 year. Now, this past year, he gets a running backs coaching job with the Chicago Bears and was sort of able to find himself some career resurgency, is maybe the best way that I can phrase it. Right? They were third in the NFL in rushing yards per game this past season, averaging close to 5 yards per carry. They had 19 rushing touchdowns this year, which was top 10 in the league as well. And it came from a variety of places. Obviously, DeAndre Swift, who had 1,000 yards rushing this season, but Kyle Monungai, your rookie that nobody really talked much about, a 7th-round pick, 780 yards on the ground. He actually helped my fantasy football team out quite a lot in a couple of weeks this season. And, you know, it helped that you've got a fairly mobile quarterback in the form of Caleb Williams rushing for nearly 400 yards on his own as well. So he's certainly got the pedigree for it. He's earned the opportunity. Where the biggest part of my skepticism resides is in the fact that it didn't feel like the Chiefs had another plan. It seems to me like this was always the thought. The season ends. Chiefs are 6-11. Nagy's contract is expired. There's all these coaches being hired and fired, and no mention is being made at all about the Chiefs interviewing other candidates or requesting interviews for other candidates. And I'm not saying that they didn't, but that was never publicized, which is extremely strange in the day and age that we reside in now. The Chiefs did publicize that they were requesting an interview with Eric Bieniemy and then ultimately hired Eric Bieniemy. But no other mention of anybody else. Is that because that was the Chiefs' plan all along? Is that because they were trying to keep it quiet? Or could it possibly be because nobody else was interested? Why would anybody else be interested in being the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs if they don't get to call the plays? I mean, it's one thing to be like, well, these guys, you know, they weren't going to get an opportunity. They may not get a chance to implement their offensive scheme. That's one thing. They don't even get to call the plays. So they have to adapt to something completely different, or maybe even slightly different from themselves and what they're accustomed to, what their offensive philosophy is. And then they just have to sit and help with the game plan, help with scripting the first 15, and then give their thoughts to Andy Reid on a snap-by-snap basis, but doesn't ultimately get to handle the play-calling duties. That's going to turn off a lot of guys, a lot of offensive minds in today's day and age of the NFL. And and maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, but does it feel to anybody else like that only really happens with offensive-minded head coaches? Like, I don't hear a lot about defensive-minded head coaches calling the defense and that being a problem. It feels like anytime this occurs, it feels like it's with an offensive guy. What is it about offensive coordinators and head coaches who are offensive-minded that they have to be the one to call the plays? So was Eric Bieniemy the hire because he's the only guy that you could that could be okay with and embrace the fact that they are not the primary play caller for their football team? We'll see, man. I mean, Mahomes seems excited about the idea of him coming back. Travis, earlier this week on New Heights, said he's thrilled at the idea of EB coming back to coach the team. Chris Jones has been on social media in support of it, as if they'd be anything else for that matter. But if the players are excited about it, then maybe we should be too. But maybe it's the job. I don't know. I can't help but have this feeling of skepticism that continues to reside in my heart of hearts. One thing's for certain, though. Nobody's got anywhere to hide anymore. We're going to find out real fast if Matt Nagy was the problem or not. And if he wasn't, all the fire Matt Nagy people are going to have to turn their attention somewhere. Who that person ends up being, I don't know. But they no longer have somebody like Matt Nagy to hide behind. For my producer, Jackson Ogden, I'm Logan Weber. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for tuning into the program. I'll be back on Friday after hours, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks Eats, Drinks,